Yo, what up, guys? We are live. So we have what's his name, Ayendei and Destiny joining us any minute. So I figured I'd get started early because I don't want to keep you guys waiting. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, we got that going on. I see there's a lot of bickering and arguing going on in the chat. That's why I think the manosphere should be the dramasphere. But yeah, let's all chill out with that. We got a good show ahead of you. There's no need to get into pointless, silly drama. That's probably going to go away in day two. Speaking of which, actually, there is a person in this community, not someone I'm close with, but someone who has my number, who has been spurging the fuck out of me for 2 hours. I don't want to ruin the surprise, but I'll tell you guys about it after the show, so you guys stay. But we're calling me like 7 times, just fucking blowing up my phone with the dumbest shit ever. But anyway, so let's focus on this debate. It's going to be Ayendei versus Destiny. And it might be more of a discussion. We'll see how it goes. You never know. But we're going to talk about should men lead in a relationship, Andrew Tate, just Red Bull stuff, basically. So, yeah, it's going to be a good time. It's not Slave. No, you're wrong. Slave doesn't even have my phone number. I think I would give Mr. Slave my phone number. Shit, I'd be like fucking drowning in dick pics or something like that. I don't fucking know. Also, I wanna reiterate something. Last night there was a little bit of an incident. It wasn't that bad, but one thing that we have a zero tolerance policy for is threatening of any kind, even if it's like not even that extreme. No threats. So if you threaten anyone, that's I'm gonna either put you in timeout or kick you off without a warning. So yeah, that's gonna be it. Yeah, there's gonna be no second chances with that. Everyone should feel safe in the chat. No one should ever feel uncomfortable. I mean, again, you can roast people and you can criticize them and you can whatever, you can call them out, but no threatening the language. That's one I'm pretty firm on. All right, let me see where everyone is. Okay. Ayendei says he's joining. Let me see. Make sure I get him the right link. Bear with me, guys. Okay. Let me see. Okay, and let me just double text Destiny. Make sure he has the right link. Discord. Okay, I dropped both of them the link. All right. One of the greatest incidents in the PWF versus the Caduceus Greg Hormax Ashley Slade workplace accusation email incident. That was a good one, yeah. And the PW verse is a interesting place. It was debates last night. I think you can probably guess who it was. Again, it wasn't like a violent threat, but there was an the implication was there, which is why this person didn't just get banned outright, because it's something that you can make an argument for was an accident, but that is their final warning. What's up, buddy?
Oh, hello.
You will be debating me today. We talk about your blue hair.
My blue hair? What's wrong with my blue hair?
I like it. Ayendei's going to be here in a minute or two. He's just setting his shit up.
Cool,
man. So what's been going on? What have you been up to? You're doing like 1 million podcasts a day now.
Yeah, I'm working out here, okay? Flying all over the world, talking to people.
Hustling. Dude, I watched your, I don't know if we want to call it a debate or conversation with Eden Ross. That was like one of the most anticlimactic events in fucking YouTube history. Like, I thought it was going to be so like just fucking crazy. It was literally like, so, what do you like to do for fun? Oh yeah, like I like.
We come from like totally different areas of existence. Like my audience was like really mad too. It's like, why didn't Destiny try? And it's like, bro, we're like, this kid's like 15 years younger than me. We have like totally different hobbies, different communities, different like everything. Like I don't even know what the fuck we're supposed to connect on.
Not connect, but a lot of disagreements. I don't know. I've seen you go harder on people who are like in the same group as him.
Yeah, but he doesn't. I'm not trying to like be mean or anything, but like, does he come off as somebody that has like well thought out positions?
No, dude. The dude is clearly low IQ.
Like the guys asked me like, how do you feel about Solcalism or whatever? And it's like, bro, I'm not about to have like a serious fucking political argument with this guy. Like seriously? Like, yeah, no. So it was just like a friendly chat. We'll see if we chat more in the future.
I wonder how much of that do you think is an act though? Or do you think that's really who he is?
I don't even know. It's not my job to guess. If somebody presents me as an idiot, then I'll take him as an idiot. Yeah, that's all I do.
You know what's funny? One of my best friends, his cousin is Aiden Ross, but they don't talk at all to that side of the family. Apparently, I don't know exactly, but something happened that side of the family's cut off. It was a random coincidence.
Oh, well, damn.
I know. Those some big people. Yeah, also, since we're talking, what are you thinking on the cold approach video?
Good question. I'll probably do it whenever the fuck now. I don't know. You should email me. We should like schedule it out.
Yeah, I think so. We're hosting a competition in a week, but so we can do this after that. But we've been doing these like pickup challenges, kind of like Keys to the VIP, where we like two people come out from different sides of the country who don't like each other, and then they go out and pick up girls. We videotape all of it, and then we show the results. We did our first one a few weeks ago. The guy who lost just came up with a cringy conspiracy theory and said it was all set up, and that at some point he said it was all because he's black. But yeah, there's a lot.
How would you avoid people setting that up, especially when people are making livings based on this? Like if I made a living selling dating advice and I was doing a cold pickup video, I'd pay girls or I'd just get friends to like chat with me. I think I would do that, right?
Well, I'm not in the competition. I have no dog in this fight. It's two random people who I don't really know.
Oh, sure. I just mean in general, it seems like that would be a problem in any type of competition, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm competing, sure, but I think it would be like pretty difficult to stage this shit. Also be a massive risk because what if one of those girls comes out? What if some screenshots get leaked? Like if I lose a competition, that's not a big deal. I mean, sure, maybe it's like a bad week for me, but if I get caught rigging a competition, that's the end of my career or potentially the end of my career.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So yeah, I would be really, really dumb to take that risk. But yeah, the one we were doing, I wasn't in it. It was just two other guys who weren't getting along. Gotcha. What do you guys do in your community when there's like two people have beef? Do you guys just debate or fucking go canvassing? What do you guys do?
I usually try to exacerbate it, make some good content.
Okay. Nice. All right, let me see where Ayendei is at. Please join.
Oh, I cleared the zombie mission first try, guys. I'm a god. What am I gonna say? I'm just really good at video games.
Dude, it kind of blows my mind how you can play these complex video games while having a debate. I don't know how you multitask like that.
Usually the debates are me just repeating the same thing I've said over and over again. So, what are you gonna do?
I feel like a debate is getting good when you stop playing video games and you focus on it. That's when the debate is getting juicy.
Yeah, that means I'm actually treading new ground, or I have to apply my brain a little bit more than usual. Yeah.
Oh. Hey, is it true that Zerka got a job at No Jumper? Someone said that in my chat.
I think he did. I hope he did. Yeah, it seems like they're setting up shows and they're recording stuff. So yeah, hopefully everything goes okay as long as he can chill and not go fucking crazy. I think he should be good there. He could have like a bright future there. We'll see.
So what? He was just like so polarizing, entertaining that Adam was like, you know what? We're gonna hire this guy.
Yeah, he's a funny fucking dude.
He's a funny dude.
He just needs somebody to guide him. He needs like a manager to like keep him focused and consistent. As long as he's got that, he's money. He's really good content. But the problem is like he disappears for like 6 months at a time on just like some random shit. Although apparently a lot of streamers have that problem, but yeah.
No, I guess it's more of like No Jumper is like one of the most popular podcasts. There's millions of people who want to get a job there. Like how did he he must have done extraordinarily great when he met Adam to get a jump from like one podcast.
I mean, we had a really funny podcast. I mean, you should see it.
I'll take a look. I just watched the Flat Earth clip. I was like,
yeah, it was a lot. It was a good podcast. Yeah.
I'll have to check it out. Let me just call Ayendei. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Oh, there we go. There he is. Yo, what's up, Ayendei?
Sound. Did you access the mic?
Ayendei, we can hear you.
The virtual cameras work.
I hope he doesn't do something embarrassing because he thinks he's offline.
You should be able to just post.
Ayendei. Is your name Ayendei? Is that how it's pronounced?
We can hear you
You
guys.
should be able to just.
Okay, let me just text him back to hear him.
Okay.
Oh shit! Is it because?
Yeah.
Okay, they said they can hear you. He said they can hear you. So if you have the audio,
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you
You guys can hear us? That's what he
Yeah,
said.
we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, cool. So yeah, we're good, man.
Wait, could you just hear us saying we can hear you and you were ignoring us?
No. I didn't see it until the text message. I didn't hear you when you were saying it.
Oh, but after the text message, you could hear us. Okay.
No, I read it in the text message. I don't know what he just clicked. Why we can hear you now.
Okay, so do you hear me right now? Like,
Yeah, you can hear you right now. You must be able to.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
all right,
good.
I'm sure. All right, so let's jump into it because Destiny only has an hour, so I want to make sure we get through everything. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right, cool. Let's kick it off. Let's do a very quick introduction because I don't think Destiny's familiar with Ayendei, and my community might not be familiar with Destiny as much. So let's just do a quick 30-second introduction. What do you believe? And then we'll get right into it.
Yeah, do you want to go first or?
Yeah, kick it off, Ayendei.
Okay, what's up? So it's me and SB. I have Authentic Alphas channel. Together, we just started a new channel, Intuition Academy. So we're dealing with a lot of dating issues, just social issues in general, things that are happening nowadays between men and women, but probably a different take than what you guys are used to, or whatever you think is red pill. We don't really identify with the red pill community, although we do understand the talking points.
All right.
Yeah, I'm a guy. I just play video games, do philosophy, and I fuck a lot of bitches. And I'm here to guide other people to the holy grail of bitch fucking online with blue hair.
All right.
That's what I do. Yeah.
You forgot about that part. How you're going to be working for PWF, but we can keep it a secret for now.
Sure.
All right, let's jump right into it. So here's the first question: who do you think should lead in a relationship, and to what extent?
The man should lead in the relationship. To all extent. I mean, I'm sure the woman will have influence, and that's fine. It's not really a control mechanism, but as far as who's in the lead role, yeah, I believe it would be better suited the male.
That's me.
Okay, hold on, wait. Do we mean hooking up, or do we mean like relationships like you're dating?
Relationships like you're dating.
Okay, I view these as partnerships. I mean, like, there's going to be some areas that the man feels more strongly about, and other areas that the woman feels more strongly about, and who's leading where is just going to depend on who's got the preference. So, like, if a guy has to move somewhere for a job, the guy's probably leading in terms of picking where to live. If a woman is, like, staying home and taking care of children, the woman's probably going to lead when it comes time to, like, grocery shop or something like that. It just kind of depends on what the assigned roles are and what the dynamic of the relationship is. But I think healthy relationships generally form as partnerships, not with, like, a clear, like, hierarchy of leadership.
All right, can you guys see us?
No.
Nope.
We can hear you.
Yeah, so all right, so we have three ladies in the room. I guess we might as well go ahead and let them give their take. So we'll start with Exit.
Hey, I'm Exit. Damn. I mean, I have to agree with Destiny. It's 100% a partnership. It just depends on the dynamic because, I mean, some guys just want women to make all the choices. Some women want men that just, lead the way, I think. So.
Yeah. All right, we'll get over to Steffi Boom.
What's up? My name is Steffi Boom. Hi, guys. Hi, Destiny. Big fan. I agree with you, to be frank. I think that it really depends on the people. It depends on the relationship. Just like Exit said, I'm right there with you, girl.
Okay, Anna?
I'm Anna 911, and I think that I prefer like the man to take the lead just because like the world is scary and I don't want to make decisions.
Oh, that's cute.
Okay. All right, Ayendei, you got your work cut out for you. There's one girl agrees with you, two girls disagree with you. So yeah, we'll get into open dialogue. So this is where you just like.
Well, hold on. I wouldn't say disagree. I didn't even disagree with what Destiny said. I just simply said overall, as far as the direction of their life, what is their plan, what is their mutual goal. Yeah, I think the guy would be the one taking the lead and orchestrating that. And part of him leading is delegating certain departments to her, like, say, the groceries, like, say, the childcare. So there really wasn't a disagreement there.
I mean, I would disagree. I don't think you can delegate that to the woman. She has to agree to do it. Like, it's not like when I think of delegating, I think of in my business, there are employees that I say, hey, I'm paying you, therefore you have to do this task. I'm delegating this responsibility to you. If I'm like with my wife in a house and I'm like, hey, Mel, you're going to go do that. That's not going to work. I can't delegate tasks to my wife. We can have a conversation about like, hey, how do you want to, differentiate between roles in the house? Or if you want to have a kid in the future, when do we want to do that? But all of these things are 50-50 partnerships. Like I can't delegate responsibilities to my wife in my relationship, at least. Maybe some men do, but I feel like in general, a healthier relationship is always going to be like a partnership in terms of figuring out what you want to do next.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, if that's the way you feel about it, I don't really see how that's really that different than what I said. Nor do I
Well,
see.
delegation, I think, implies hierarchy, implies you can tell somebody what to do.
Well, no, it means that we have a plan. Somebody might be, say, the captain of the team, maybe the leader of the team, and he might be charged with saying, "Hey, you are best suited for this. This person is best suited for that. I'm best suited for this." So, I mean, I guess that could be a semantics argument, but I guess delegate means something different than it does to me, to you. And then also, if you're part of a team at work, there is going to be some type of hierarchy. So why would a relationship at home with a woman be any different? Now,
Well,
if you're
because I'm not at work, there's a hierarchy because you've got bosses and employees.
right, and they
I
agree,
guess in a household, do you have a boss and an employee in the household?
right, and the employees agree to that arrangement, much like obviously the woman would have to agree to that. Just like Anna said, there are women that do feel like, yeah, the man is better suited to come up with the direction of the relationship and make those type of decisions.
I guess so. When I have these conversations, I like to ground everything out in examples. That's why I gave the example earlier. If a man needs to move, then he's probably going to be in charge of that. If a woman is in the household, say she's like doing like standard housewife duties, she's probably going to be in charge of shopping because she's around the house more often. I'm trying to think of an example of, and you're saying where like the man leads the relationship. Can you give me an example of like a man like making a decision for both partners? Like, what do you mean when you say that?
You already gave a great example, deciding what city they're going to live in, what community they're
Yeah,
going
but
to.
I'm saying like that's because the man is the one working. So like if the woman was the one with the higher paying job, you might move because of the woman. That has nothing to do with the hierarchical roles of man or woman. I'm just saying in an example where the man is working, he would probably choose to move for his job. If the woman was working, she would probably choose to move for her job. Or let's say in another example, let's say the man and the woman decide they want to have kids, but the man doesn't have much of a family, but the woman has like a really good extended family. The woman and the man might decide like, hey, the woman's family lives in Arkansas. We should go move closer to them because they can help with the kids. Like that would be a decision you could make. But like, I'm just trying to think of like, where's a decision where a man is like leading in the relationship and he has to make the decision for the woman. And it's not like a 50-50 thing. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Well, I mean, in all of the decisions. I mean, I don't know, Destiny. If there needs to be a specific things. I think just in general, the guy would have a plan.
Do you mean like what car you buy?
Yeah, anything. Like just one decision. If
like,
you can't give an example, like what are we talking about? Otherwise, it just feels kind of like we're paying lip service to the idea of the man leading. Like,
well, let me pose an example that I think will clarify this. So, if you're in a situation, you're dating somebody, and it turns out that your girlfriend's better at organizing than you, should you still be the one that leads, or should she be the one that leads when it comes to organizing? Because I'm knowing myself as an example, I'm extremely disorganized. My girlfriend's really, really good at organizing. So when we travel, for example, I just let her take care of all the organizing, right? And I'm okay with that. So where do you stand on that, Ayendei? Would you be
okay? Look, it's like he was saying that he looks at that as like hierarchy. Okay, hierarchy of people. Okay, well, there's a hierarchy of priorities. So I think the priority would be, where to live, actually getting a home, affording a home before comes the priority of putting groceries in that fridge. You see what I'm saying? You have to first have the home that has the kitchen, that has the fridge to put the food in. And then what example did you just give? Like organizing the house and cleaning and stuff like that?
No. Organizing when you travel.
Okay, yeah, that too. Same dynamic. So what comes first? Earning the money to go traveling, being able to protect said people involved in the trip when you travel to wherever you travel to, making the good decisions, planning what hotel, how far is it from where we want to be, what's the transportation going to be, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, the smaller things would be like packing the bags, making sure you have the right, things in your luggage. So, of course, the woman would take that. But what I'm saying is there's a hierarchy within those actual tasks.
Like even what you just said there was loaded like so much. Like the woman would take care of the smaller tasks. It's not like what Alex is saying.
Right,
Is like the woman would...
I'm saying it like that, and anybody can get triggered by that. But like I just
hold on, nobody's getting triggered. I don't know what you mean.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just saying in general. Someone can look at it as, oh my god.
Well, but you're responding to me, and you're saying you can get triggered by that.
I understand. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about anybody that's listening would say, how dare you say that the woman's task is smaller? I just explained why I would think that, because you have to first go on said trip to pack for said trip. So obviously the planning of the trip and the expenses of the trip are bigger than packing what you're going to bring on the trip.
But all of that is going to be co-decided. Are you really going to tell your girl like, hey, in 3 months we're going on a vacation to Alaska, full like boom? No, I feel like that'd probably be a discussion like, hey, where do you want to go? And then you guys would have like a conversation about where you want to go. It'd be like a partnership thing,
right? And it'd be heavily influenced by the woman, because the guy that's in the lead would want to make the woman happy. So that's what I'm saying, man. It's a marriage. It all goes hand in hand.
Okay,
so
I think my answer is correct.
I'm not saying the guy's making decisions without taking the woman into consideration. That's not what I'm saying. The lead as a team.
Okay, well, I guess when you describe lead here, that's not how lead is ever used ever. Like as a manager, when I lead on projects, I don't get feedback from my employees. Like, what do you guys think we should do next? Like, I'm the boss.
And that's a bad manager. And that's a bad manager.
No, the manager's interests are going to be aligned necessarily differently with the employees, right? Like you might have they might give you some input, but at the end of the day, you might make decisions that your employees don't like. Like, hey, we're going to move in this area, we're going to adopt this framework, we're going to do this thing, and your employees at the end of the day are like, oh, they either go along or they leave, right? That's what it means to be a manager. But in like a relationship, it's a way more of a partnership type of thing than like a delegating responsibilities and tasks and telling people what to do type of thing.
I don't see it that way. You're the one that's acting like it can't be a variety to that. I think if you're the manager, you can manage the way you manage. If you're a coach, you coach the way you coach. If you're a parent, you parent the way you parent. Some parent might spank, and some people look at that as abuse. Another parent will never put will never hit the children. But does one mean parent and the other one doesn't mean parent? No, it's just different styles of parenting.
No,
So
it does. It does. I mean, like if you're a parent and you're like a friend with your children and you hang out with all their buddies and you never discipline your child, you're not really much of a parent, right? You're just a friend to your kid. So, I mean, I think the roles are meaningfully different. If you're telling me that you've got a style of leadership that's essentially just cooperation, then I guess we would agree. But it's strange that you would present it as like the woman does the small tasks, the man is in charge and makes the final decisions. But then you're also saying like, but it's also a cooperative process the entire time. I don't know what, in that case, it just sounds like you're saying it's just a 50-50 cooperation. I don't know where the man is leading.
I think maybe our disagreement is the level and degree to which you think women can lead and manage. So that maybe
how can not, what, like what, yeah, what do you mean? What's the difference? Or
what I'm saying is, generally speaking, the man should and would be making better decisions than the woman would be capable of, and she would.
Like in what domain? Like, give me examples.
Hold on. And she would be attracted to said guy that could make better decisions in the areas where she would be weaker.
Yeah, I just need examples. Like, what do we mean? Like, can a woman not like?
I feel like we've already had those examples. Yeah, women can go work and pay for bills, but I mean, studies would show, and I know you know this because you're a very smart guy, Destiny. You know that generally speaking, men manage money better than women. And those
I don't know if that's true. Is that actually true? I would actually be surprised.
I'm not saying all men are better than all women managing.
No, I mean even as like a generality, is it true that men manage money better than women manage money in terms of like investments and everything? I don't know if that's true.
I don't know. Last time I saw that they lean towards that in the conclusion of their studies. Even how much money someone would have saved. Say the average female American and the average male American in the same age demographic. The guy would have more money saved.
I would believe that because men earn more typically, so that makes sense. Yeah, but managing money plus.
I mean, any way you want to look at it, but there is a division of labor, right? There is a division of labor, and I don't think all labor is going to be equal. Just like I'm sure if it's heavy things to be lifted, I'm sure the guy would be doing that, not the woman.
I mean, for picking things up, that's probably true. Yes.
Okay.
Let me once again redirect to my analogy. So let's say I'm a noob. I don't know anything about women, but I have a great girlfriend, right? And we're planning on traveling. And I come to both of you and I'm like, hey, Destiny, I really suck at like planning things. Do you think it's okay if I just let my girlfriend plan the trip and just organize everything? You'll probably say, sure, man, that's cool. I'm assuming, right?
Are you talking to me?
Yes, Destiny.
Yeah, if she was good at it, I'd say, yeah, go for it, sure.
Okay. What would you say, Ayendei, if I asked you that question?
I'd say my team wants to win. So whoever's better in that area, that's the person that would handle it.
Oh, okay. So then you guys are actually saying the same thing.
Okay. What do the ladies think?
What was the question?
All right.
Am I a misogynist? That's the question. No.
Look, the question is that let's say there's an area where the girl's a lot better. Like, again, I'm using myself as an example. I'm horrible at organizing and planning and all that shit, or at least planning when it comes to travel, right? So me and Natty travel. I'll let her take care of everything. I'll let her take care of getting the plane ticket. I'll let her take care of like fucking making sure we get to the airport on bus. I let her take care of all this shit because one, I don't really like doing it, and two, I know she's a lot better at it than me.
Okay, but if something went wrong, who would enforce the resolution? Would that be you or Natty?
I mean,
Well, it depends on who's making the decision, right? If my girlfriend my wife, if my wife was in charge of planning shit and shit got fucked, well, then she's going to have the responsibility and the consequences of fucking up the planning, right? Depends on who's in charge of the given task, I would imagine.
What if you're better and more dominant when it comes to dealing with the customer service and whoever's going to resolve that issue?
If I'm better, more dominant with customer service, then I'll deal with it. I've dated some really cunty women before that are fucking awesome at dealing with customer service before, though. So I think the women that I'm with are usually really good at like Like, I want this fucking shit done right now. So, I mean, I usually let them deal with it. But again, this isn't a question then of like who's leading the man or the woman. This is just a question of who's better suited for a given job, in which case you would just let whoever's better suited for it take care of it, regardless of if they're man or woman, I guess.
Right. But I would raise my hand and say, I think when it comes to overall leadership, I think the man would be the better leader. Now, obviously, if we start breaking it down into specific things, areas to lead within, well, then of course the woman would take some of those. I mean, there's even times when the kids would take some of those things. If you have kids that are already teens, there are going to be areas where the kids are like, Dad, you don't know anything about this new technology. Let me show you something. And that's the kid.
Yeah, it's kind of neutral. I think like people naturally should play at their strengths. If you know someone is good at something, you need that something done, have them do it. And so that's kind of like a neutral thing, my opinion.
I think you guys are both saying something very similar, so I think we can move on, unless you guys have anything to add to the next topic, because you guys are largely in agreement.
Yeah, we can move on.
All right, cool. So let's get into everyone's favorite topic, Andrew Tate. So I venture to say that Destiny and Ayendei have completely different feelings about the whole situation. So let's start off with you, Destiny. Just give a 30-second summary. What do you think about that whole thing? And then you, Ayendei, and then we'll kick it off.
Wait, hold on, real quick. Before you do that, are we talking about a specific incident involving Andrew Tate, or are we talking about Destiny's views on Andrew Tate in general?
No, we're just talking about in general what's going on. Like him, one, how much value does he provide as a content creator? Like, is he helping men or is he hurting men? Whether he's a good role model, and two, about his like current situation, whether that's justified or not justified.
Okay.
I would say he's overwhelmingly a net negative. I think his entire life has been that of a sex trafficker and a scam artist, most of which he's self-admitted to basically every part of this. He's a guy that runs casinos, and then even if we don't believe he's sex trafficked, he admitted to scamming men with his scamming business. So I don't know. He says a couple of good things, I guess, but I mean, even Hitler made a couple of positive comments in his lifetime, I'm sure. But yeah, I would say Andrew Tate is overwhelmingly negative, probably deserves to be in jail, probably deserves to be convicted for sex trafficking. That's my feelings about it.
All right. Ayendei?
Where to start? Okay. I'm usually out of the loop. Like, I heard that Destiny had these type of views on Andrew Tate, but I didn't hear him say these things himself. I mean, I don't get the opportunity to watch much content, so I don't even really know too much of the details of what's going on with Andrew Tate. But I think the perspective that I have is purely personal. So from talking to him and spending time with him is where my perception of him comes from. So I don't know if that's better or worse for these discussions, because these are people that are like looking into all these details about Andrew Tate. They know a lot more about that kind of stuff. I'm dealing with the man on a one-on-one, and that's how I like to judge people. There's many YouTubers people could ask me about, and I say, listen, I couldn't tell you. But if it's a YouTuber that I've met and I got to speak to personally, I feel like I'm not dealing with the persona. I'm not dealing with the social media or mainstream persona. I'm dealing with the individual. Now, as far as admitting to scamming men or whatever through women, I think there's a slight layer of relatability I could have to that, and hopefully no one takes it out of context. But I very much do look at myself as helping men, aside from even YouTube. I mean, I decided to do this because I've helped so many men in real life deal with these issues, and getting finessed by women would be one of those issues. And I've had people look at me as some type of hypocrite, because at the same time I've hustled with women and gotten money. Women that are into anything, whereas they're trying to monetize themselves or whatever. I've given women lots of advice and counseling with areas like that. So then people say, "Oh, that's hypocritical because you'll help this woman hustle guys, but then you're supposedly helping guys." Well, I guess that's a judgment you're making from the outside. When you're in that position and you're looking at it as just people. If a dancer or female bartender or whatever comes to me and I'm giving a game on how to finesse her clients and make more money and be more appealing, but then I would give the same advice to a guy coming to me saying, "Hey, I'm getting finessed by these ladies," I'm going to give them both the truth. I'm going to tell the girl, "Listen, this is the buttons to push to get what you're trying to get out of these guys." And I would say the same thing to the dude. "This is the buttons that you need to push, or the boxes you need to check to be attractive to women so that they're not finessing you and hustling you." Now, again, there's people that can't see that that's two completely different things, whatever. I don't really like this modern day where people think they got everybody figured out just from some content. But in any event, so I don't know if Andrew Tate is guilty. I just know that he's always been an extremely stand-up dude with me. Just this morning, I was talking to my ex-girlfriend about it because she sent me some meme or something, whatever, saying that he's like dying of leukemia. And the reason why that's of a conversation is because she met him. when we were together, there was a time I was with Tate and I was talking. I was like, yeah, I'm hanging out with Andrew Tate right now. She's like, oh, well, tell him I'm a fan. And next time he's in town, I'd like to meet him. So I told him what she said. And he said, well, wait a minute. Where is she? I said, she's home. He said, all right, come on, let's go. I said, let's go where? He said, let's go home. Let's go to your condo. So I said, all right. And I called her. I said, listen, just come downstairs. I'm pulling up. She said, for what? I said, listen, don't ask me any questions, woman. Just make your way downstairs. And he was extremely polite to her, an absolute gentleman. And she was saying that he made her feel so valuable and special. She would never expect someone of that caliber to treat her like she was somebody. She felt she's just a regular person. Now, that experience is not unique because every woman that I've seen Andrew Tate meet in person has had almost an identical response to him. So I always find it interesting when people who have never met him have such a negative depiction of him, but the people that met him have so much respect and admiration for him. So again,
let me just rephrase a little bit. Do you believe that he's an overall net positive or net negative?
Absolutely. Overall positive, absolutely. I think what young men do with the information that he's sharing, expounding, whatever you want to call it, I think that's up to them. People can have a misguided response to certain things that they have just become savvy to that are true and might affect them in a way. So I don't think Andrew Tate has a negative message at all. Would some people have a toxic run with it? Will some people interpret it that way? The first question I asked Andrew when I met him was, is this really you, or is this just a persona that you create to be polarizing? And he said, well, my friend, when you say things, you have to trigger people. If you want people to respond to what you're saying, and you want to get people's attention, yeah, you're gonna have to be polarizing, friend. So he basically admitted that he delivers things in that way to get people's attention.
Can I chime in?
Yeah,
let's wait. Can we just? Do you mind if Destiny goes and then you can chime in after that?
Yeah,
for sure.
I just want to make sure everyone gets like equal speaking time.
Yeah, I don't. It's so bizarre to me that like if Andrew Tate is charged with being a scam artist, I don't know why somebody would say, well, everybody that's ever met him says he's really nice. Yeah, no shit, he's a scam artist.
Yeah,
Like
you would say
obviously,
that, yeah.
that's obviously the case. So like if he's charged with being a sex trafficker that's able of like seducing women, flying them across the world, and then luring them into a webcam business, and you're like, well, when my woman met him, she said, wow, he's so nice. I've ever treated like. Well, yeah, no shit. That's his literal job, is to seduce women, get them to work on the webcam business, and then steal their money from them. When we say that, like, it's interesting that people have negative respect for him or don't respect him that don't know him personally. Like, in any other place, like if I were to come up here and I would be like, you know what? I actually had a lot of conversation with Epstein, and I was a really chill dude. Like, I don't know why people judge him so much. You say, well, you're crazy. I don't care if you thought he was nice personally. That's a silly charge. Like, he's been like convicted of well, he wasn't convicted. He's been charged with crimes, and people think he's done like really horrible things. Why would I care about your personal opinion? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, and then
go ahead.
Yeah, and then also just real quick, you say that like you teach women to hustle, like Tate was teaching women to hustle. Teaching people to hustle by showing them how to make them more attractive towards the opposite sex is different. The Tate brothers scammed men. Like, they explicitly had their girls falsely tell men that they were going to meet them, get them to send a ton of money to these girls, constantly make excuses why they couldn't go to the embassy, why they couldn't get on the plane, and then keep milking these guys for even more and more and more money. They weren't just teaching the women to be hustlers, like be like good at their job or like be good businesswomen or be attractive. They were teaching them how to lie, cheat, steal, and scam their customers.
Okay, small clarification. I think I just wanted to specify for the chat. So Andrew Tate was never charged with anything. He hasn't been charged yet. So there's going to be charges coming, but just technically he hasn't been charged yet. So just small clarification. All right, let's go to Ayendei's friend and Ayendei, and then it's
Steffi over here. So I want to say two things, and I think it's a little naive to because somebody's nice and kind and show you a good time that makes them a good or a bad person. Any good person can do bad things, and any bad person can be great and do great things. 1. 2, there's a lawyer that has dissected Andrew Tate's classes that he has for men, his webcamming that he does, which is obviously you have to pay for that to have access to that. So there's plenty of videos that you can find online, and one specifically that really, really will touch any woman's heart, where he's specifically calling women stupid and easy to manipulate, and he uses them, and he can teach young men and all men how to use them and get what they want from women, etc. And that's just a small piece of the many things he's trying to teach men. All right, so I think it's definitely
okay. Is it my turn now?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
I feel like you guys are getting some type of idea that I was defending him. I was just asked what my opinion was on the guy.
I'm just
But
educating you.
Hold on, Stephanie, let me go ahead and you don't have to educate me because I really don't care. I've looked into these things myself. That's not an Andrew Tate isolated thing. I really don't care about people that aren't like, in my life. Everybody's living their own life.
I think it's
Stephanie,
important to care.
Wait, let's let Ayendei talk because he's
So like I was saying, I never was defending him to begin with. That's number one. Number two, I knew that the obvious comeback Destiny would be like, well, he is a con artist. So there's a couple of things I want to address. So yeah, I mean, he could very well be a con artist, and he would have that skill set to some degree anyway. Just the nature of his history, his hustling, he would have to have that skill set. But of course, I looked at it as why the effort? Why the phone calls? Why the text messages? There's nothing that he could get from me, so I don't know what he would be conning me for. And any of the women that I've witnessed him around, there was nothing to con them for either. So yeah, I definitely understand what you guys are saying, but I'm just giving you my perspective. That I don't see the incentive for him to be necessarily conning me. I'm not saying he's not a con man. I'm just saying you can't be like, oh, Ayendei, how could you be so naive? Well, first of all, there was, like I said, nothing to con me for. And then one more thing Destiny was saying about how he was directly scamming and manipulating guys or whatever. I never said that what I was doing with chicks was the same. I said that there is some layer to relatability. That's what I said. So I'm not gonna be taken out of context if it could be prevented. So yeah, I wasn't defending Andrew Tate. I was just giving my experiences with him, and I wasn't saying we're the same in how we dealt with women to get money.
I don't know why did you give that as an example then? That was just kind of weird.
No, well, I clearly said that slightly I could relate, meaning I could relate to how you would help women finesse guys, and then also you would be trying to genuinely help men. Could be true at the same time.
Well, I mean, but isn't that like they're like totally different? That's like saying I can relate to a pedophile because I fuck women. They're just like 10 years older.
No, it's
just like
that.
a totally different thing, right?
It's not that, and I would never into that analogy, although it was entertaining. So what I am saying is, yes, two things can be true at the same time. You could be down, to hustle with a chick, if it involved somewhat taking advantage or misleading or misrepresenting a product or service to male customers. That's just the real world.
Well, that's not the real world. That's scamming.
Wait.
Hold up, time out. I mean, every time you go to a bartender or whatever, and she's smiling and perking up her cleavage, she's not really interested, but she just wants to get some good tips. That's the real world. Now,
no. That's different than a bartender.
Let me get to that, Destiny.
It takes a while.
Now, that's a degree. That's a degree of it. And if you turn that dial all the way up to the max, it could be her straight up lying to, stealing from, scamming, or conning or whatever said customer, right? But I look at that as being on a scale, being on a spectrum. So yes, I could see how Andrew Tate's history is very questionable to people. Like I said, I wasn't there. So I'm only speaking on the times that I was there. If the simplest way of me saying it is I'm speaking about the times when I was present. I like to deal with those things. I don't necessarily want to dissect people through the screen and try to figure out what's true, what's false, what's right, what's wrong, who's a good person, bad person. I stick to kind of like in-person interactions, right? So I've seen a lot of clips of Destiny. I haven't really watched too much of his content, and I've always thought he was great at debating. But I would never sit here and try to like give someone my opinion on Destiny. You know what I'm saying? On his morals or anything like that.
Okay. You keep making this weird claim where it's like a woman learning how to hustle as a bartender where she's flirting with somebody is the same thing as like scamming somebody.
I never said it was the same. I said it's on a spectrum. Because
it's not on a spectrum.
Hold on. I'm telling you why I think
you're just
I could
wrong.
be wrong. I could be wrong. You'll prove me wrong, but I'm just telling you how I see it, which doesn't have to be like how anyone else sees it. I see it as if this guy is choosing to tip this female bartender, he's choosing to keep going to this female bartender, there's something that he wants or likes more than just these drinks. And if she allows him to think any degree of that, there's some scam hustle in that. I'm sorry. If she's not
let's let Destiny respond because he's been waiting for a while.
Okay. Scamming is not on a spectrum from flirting. These are fundamentally different things. Okay. When we're being flirty or friendly to make people like us or to people for tipping us or whatever, that's fundamentally different than like actually misrepresenting your intentions in order to solicit funds from somebody. For the bartender to be on the spectrum of like what Tate's camming business was doing. If a bartender is like, hey, listen, if you tip me a little bit more, maybe I'll come home with you tonight. Like that would be on the spectrum of what Tate did. For a bartender to just be kind of like flirty and friendly with you, and then you like tip her more because you enjoy like being flirty and friendly, that's a fundamentally different thing. That's all I'm trying to say. We can't say that like, because when we start saying it's all on a spectrum, we're like justifying the worst types of behavior by conflating it with basic human interactions, which is silly.
I didn't justify anything. I don't even know what happened to justify or disagree with what happened. Like I said,
okay, I don't know if you understand. Okay, hold on, because this guy, I don't understand. It's like the most Weasley way of talking ever. When somebody says Tate did X thing that's really bad, and then you go, well, I do a thing that's kind of like that. I'm assuming that you're providing your character.
No. I see. This is why they say don't do anything with Destiny. Don't debate Destiny. Man, you're really good, man. You're great, awesome. But anyway. I was never saying that I did the same thing. I was saying that I could relate to people saying that this person couldn't possibly be helping men because he was definitely scamming men. That's what I was saying. That's the context of the comment that I made, because I've had people tell me that it's like, Ayendei, how are you trying to help men, but you're over here giving women game, as if it's some type of men versus women thing. You see what I mean? So, I personally don't look at it that way. I don't look at it as if you help women, then somehow you're against men. And if you help men or you speak for men, then you're against women. And I think people are grouping us like that. This is why supposedly if you care about male issues and you care about dealing with that content, somehow you grudge women. Well, just because a lot of guys are having issues with women does not mean addressing those issues is grudging women.
Okay, let me redirect this. Here's the heart of the disagreement. Destiny thinks that Andrew Tate is net negative. You, Ayendei, think he's a net positive. That's the actual disagreement. That's the thing more interesting to discuss.
Hold on, Alex, real quick. Let's clarify, because I think that's two different things. Are we saying Andrew Tate as a person is a bad person or negative?
No, as a
hold on. The way I understood the question the first time you asked it was, do I think this person's influence is doing more good or bad?
Yeah,
is it
helpful
or harmful? That's the question I was addressing. Yeah. And that's when I said, in my opinion, his content is positive and helpful for young men, or men of all ages, actually. Now, Andrew Tate as a person, as a human being, I'm not defending any of that.
No, I understand.
I'm not defending any of that. Okay, so I've not been comfortable with that. I don't care if a woman. Well, women have asked me to pimp them. I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested.
Okay, we get it, Andy. We're not talking about him as like a human being. We're talking about his influence on the world. So let's go to either Destiny or one of the lovely ladies there with Ayendei. I'm sure they've been waiting for a while. Whoever wants to go next can go.
I think X was waiting.
Me? Mm-hmm. Okay, so am I answering this question on whether his influence is good or not?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know him as a person, but based off of the classes and the things he's admitted on other podcasts, it's got to be a big no for me. Yeah, so sorry. He's admitted to beating women. He's admitted to getting away with a lot of harassment. And that's just not a good influence, especially if you're supposedly the leader of like men, you know? So.
Okay, yeah. Let's let Destiny also speak, because you've been waiting for moons.
Well, I mean, I think I said as much. Like, there's enough out there to like see that he's like a full-on sex trafficker. I think his views of women are pretty abhorrent, even though he hides behind euphemisms sometimes. Like, yeah, it's cool that there's a guy that's saying like do better and work out at the gym, I guess. But like, I don't think that some of the positive messaging he has makes up for the overwhelming amount of negativity that's come from him and the overwhelmingly negative messages that men get in regards to relationships and women because of him. So that's a big no for me.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hitler, you know, like he was like a great leader, but like personally, he was kind of toxic. Like,
I don't think Andrew Tate is Hitler, but okay.
Like as a person,
I don't know if Andrew Tate has ever murdered 7 million Jews. Okay, let's go back to Ayendei. And
do you have something on this?
I mean, overall, I think that hi guys, I'm the co-host King / SB from Intuition. What's up, Destiny? So overall, guys, I really do think that he's a net positive for men. At least for me and all the men that I hang around, they love Andrew Tate. I do agree that some of his personal things that he's done are not looking good. I want to wait to see what happens. I don't want to make any judgment. I mean, obviously, we've seen some of the videos of the pimping and whatever it was, but I want to wait to see what happens with the case in Romania. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to discredit what he's done for me and I think for men. But I think before we start throwing out, he's this terrible person or whatever completely, we really need to see both sides and see how this case goes.
That's a fair point, but we're talking about his net influence on people. We're not talking about his like the case and what.
Yeah, but his net influence will be determined what happens with this case. Don't you think after what happens, more men will probably be like, damn, he did it, and they're probably not going to follow him anymore, and then there'll be guys like, I don't care. So I think you guys are misconstruing I get what you're saying, but after whatever happens, there's going to be more people that either
you feel that they're related. I understand. That's a fair point.
It is related. Alex, two things I'm picking up on. I don't know if I'm the only person that feels this way, but I feel like we're not sure which one we're talking about. Are we talking about him personally, or are we talking about his influence? I know we just said that. I feel like we're talking a lot about him personally, and not more about.
I know that's why I keep pointing out. We're talking about his influence.
Okay. Then the next thing that I want to say about his influence, if we're focusing on that, I think there is an aspect that needs to be taken into consideration, and that's which people gravitate towards. Because I'm well aware that there's a possibility that something or someone can be giving out a variety of things, and you will take what appeals to you. So, me as a content creator, one minute I could be talking about fitness, one minute I could be talking about self-improvement, the next minute I could be talking about network, and the next minute I'd be talking about like negative issues between the male and female gender dynamic. And the audience is not going to pick up equally on those different topics. Some people might be like, yo, I tune into him for this fitness stuff. And then some people be like, yo, I tune into him for this dating stuff. Some people are like, yo, I tune into him for this networking stuff. So maybe one of those areas is kind of negative or it's toxic. I'm not saying me personally, but just say hypothetically, one of those areas is actually a negative influence. There are going to be certain people that gravitate towards that though, and they're supporting me on that. And they don't care what you say about me. They're influenced by that toxic content I'm putting out. Whereas there could be other groups of people that are like, yeah, I gravitate more and identify more to this content, which actually is positive. So I think Andrew Tate is just a very there's a lot of things going on with Andrew Tate, man. I think that's what makes him so polarizing, is that there's so many different layers. There's some women that would hate his guts, and there'll be women that love him. Like I've literally got laid because of Andrew Tate. There's women that I've met, and it's like at first they weren't really too interested. They'd be like, "Why is Andrew Tate following you?" And now it's like, "Oh, I gotta see you. We gotta hang out." And it's like, "What the heck?"
All right, let's kick it back.
Wait, hold on. I just gotta dispel this myth real quick. So a couple things. One, people will follow you holistically. If I get a lot of people that follow me for one thing and I start preaching about a totally different thing, people don't generally segregate off sections of their heroes. They'll start to pick up on more traits. So I don't believe that anybody follows Andrew Tate for like one particular thing. Eventually you're bought into the character. And the reason why I feel this way to number two, because Andrew Tate is a really shitty person if you ignore the whole like Matrix narrator stuff. And he doesn't really give much good advice at all. He doesn't give you good like workout tips or gym advice. He's horrible as a gym influencer. He doesn't really give you good financial or like actual business success advice. He's like pretty horrible when it comes to financial advice. When you're buying into Andrew Tate, you're buying into the whole picture of like the guy who's got the Bugattis and he fights the Matrix. That's what you're really buying into. There's not a single man that follows Andrew Tate for his lifting tips. That just doesn't exist. So I don't buy this whole like, oh no, they just follow Andrew Tate for this one particular thing. They're buying into the person. They're buying into the story of Andrew Tate.
I guess I could be wrong. I'm a very unique person. I think very, very differently from most people. And for me, I never had any interest in his courses. I mean, I could have gotten the course for free. You know what I'm saying? Like he mentioned it to me one time and I was like, yeah. Like I've never even checked it out. I have no idea. I don't know what's on page one.
Well, then what are you drawn to about him now?
I don't even know what the course is called. And honestly, I haven't watched a lot of Andrew Tate content. I've seen a ton of his clips because, clips are everywhere. That's the content these days. So if I'm being honest, I haven't really consumed a lot of Andrew Tate content.
Well, sure. Then this wouldn't even apply to you then, right?
No, hold on. Just hold on what I'm trying to say. And those kind of things that you've mentioned that are negative, those are the things that I know the least about with him. And people that I have met, I've met a lot of people who have never engaged in that particular content. That's like, yeah, I used to, hustle pimp these women, and I did this like this, and you can get money doing this and do it. Like anything that we could be considered scamming. I know plenty of people that particular aspect of Andrew Tate, they have no interest in. So that's why I'm saying, like, from my side, I see it as overall positive, and maybe that's just the conversations that I've had with people. I don't deal too much online with like talking to strangers. So the people I've talked to in person, they tend to focus on other aspects of Andrew Tate's influence that I think are mostly positive. So
Okay, can
again,
I ask?
I could be wrong.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm just kind of curious because I live obviously in my own bubble. We all have our own little bubbles that we live in. For the three women here, let's say that you've got girlfriends that talk to you about guys that they see on dates or whatever. Do you think they would be excited to find out that the guy they're seeing is a big Andrew Tate fan, or would that be a red flag?
Red flag.
The biggest red flag of life. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Did the third girl answer?
I think that's really problematic too.
No, my friends don't like him. But I actually just the other day saw a clip that he was like, a guy should like pay for the date, and it's like if you like ask a woman to like help you pay for it, it's like the least masculine thing. And I honestly enjoyed like that little soundbite.
That's like one thing I disagree with him on.
Okay, so like, I've just that's interesting you say that because in my opinion, Andrew Tate doesn't even give good dating or hookup advice in general. And every woman that I've ever had email me, and I didn't know if this was just my bubble or if it was for you too. I've had a lot of women email me who are like fucking petrified. They're like, I don't know if the guy I was on a date and he mentioned something about high value men, and now I'm really paranoid that he's like into the whole like red pill Andrew Tate community, and now I don't know. Like I had a lot of girls tell me that, but I don't know if that's just my community or if that's like a thing with women in general. So I was curious if you guys had the same experience.
Hold on. That's a thing with women in general, and I think it's extremely problematic. And the reason why is not because people can't have their own opinions, but it's a problem when they think their own opinions are others' opinions. And what irritates me about women's take on Andrew Tate or the red pill or anything that's male dominated is that it almost always is understudied. They have no experience with it. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't actually watch Andrew Tate content. They just watch clips that were actually edited and put out by people who don't like an Andrew Tate. And then they act like they can judge a man's 2-hour video based on a 1-minute clip. And that's not an Andrew Tate isolated thing, which is why it irritates me so much. It's not even about Andrew Tate. It's about women in general thinking they know about a whole genre, like a whole environment based on some little clips here and there.
Yeah, but wait, isn't that literally what you just said you did?
Hold on. No, I said that I judge him based on meeting him in real life. That's
but then why are you even giving an opinion on this when you don't even know what his content's like? Because you haven't consumed any of his content. You yourself said it was only clips.
Yes,
so your personal opinion of it has nothing to do about the advice.
I love what you're doing. This is great exercise. I prefaced that several times, man. You're really good.
But then why are you entering an opinion? You have no opinion on that.
No, you can't say that to me. You can't say that to me. That's disingenuous because I made it clear coming in that I'm not that familiar with the man's situation presently, and I'm not that familiar with his content, but I will tell you my experience with him personally. But you almost got me, buddy.
Let me ask a clarifying question then. So is your statement that I think he's a net positive based on your personal experiences with him, or is it also based on like content that you've consumed?
Yeah, that I just think it's of the kind of feedback that I've seen from young men that are into his content. Like again, I could be wrong. Maybe I don't interact with the guys that would be all over his course. Sorry, I don't know what it's called, but I haven't spoken to those guys. But his course is doing great, so there must be a lot of guys that are influenced by that particular content.
Let me ask a quick question or just make a quick statement. I think that Andrew Tate's influence overall is good. However, all the things that are coming out are bad. I don't think anybody who's following Andrew Tate is ever going to run a cam business. We're almost assuming like the people are somehow going to follow his footsteps completely. It's like, yes, we found out he may have done some scumbag things, but if the overall net positive is more guys get in the gym, more guys are trying to figure out how to deal with women, even if they don't try to act like Andrew Tate exactly, I'm not seeing how he's a bad overall net bad positive as influence.
Sure. So,
overall negative bad person, that could be but I mean, go ahead.
What I think the real problem is that there's so many young men out there who don't have someone personally in their life.
Wait, can we let Destiny respond to the point that?
Okay, hold on. So the issue isn't that like it's just this engagement is so silly that like, oh, people just watch Andrew Tate and then they go to the gym more. That's not true. You're picking up a lifestyle. You're picking up a whole frame of the world from Andrew Tate. You're picking up a whole. I don't care okay, if you haven't watched his content, I don't know why you're entering an opinion on this.
Like I said, I gotta agree with him. I don't see these guys driving Bugattis and having a harem of.
No one is. That's like the most level 1 engagement ever with the subject matter.
So Destiny, I tell you
what.
Let
me finish answering the question. The reality is that when people watch Andrew Tate, they get a view of the world. And one of those views, particularly when we talk about like dating stuff, is you get a highly adversarial view of men versus women. in my opinion. And I think that this echoes and reverberates throughout all of the red pill content is how do you get one over on women? How do you get women to do what you want them to do? How do you make them submissive and trainable? And why is it better when they're young so they haven't as much dick in them so they're not traumatized? And like all of these statements are usually highly adversarial towards women. And even if a guy is not running a cam business, I still think he can pick up those general types of attitudes, and then that's going to resonate with him, and then it's going to reflect in the way that he treats women in his life.
Destiny, to be fair, all that existed before Andrew Tate ever came.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, and anti-Semitism existed before Hitler came about. That doesn't mean I can't like say he does a bad job with it. What do you mean?
Hold on,
Let's let Ayendei respond.
Not only did that already exist, but the female content that's been coming out, just because it's not dominated by one person that was as popular as Andrew Tate, because we're only having this conversation not because of the things he said necessarily, but because he was able to geniusly figure out how to make himself that notorious. He was able to break the algorithm and be the most Googled man. That's why we're having this discussion. But all these ideas have already existed collectively. Maybe these things were already said collectively by multiple different people. Now we have a boogeyman to put it all on. Now we got someone with a name on the back of his jersey to say this is the Michael Jordan of this ideology.
Yeah,
So,
but I mean, like if he's saying negative things and they're
Right,
even if they're already out there.
hold on.
Okay,
Let me finish.
just real quick. When we're doing these things, can we not give like 15 like restatements of the same thing we're saying? Because it's like 12 minutes to say like just 30 seconds of stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's what I was doing. But anyhow, so also, see me just made me lose my train of thought here for a second. Oh, okay. So not only was these things already being said, but all of the female content that was coming out prior to this was very combative to men. It was very men versus women coming from women. So that's what guys are responding to. So ultimately what I'm saying is the reason why there is even a market for a hero like Andrew Tate is because guys have already been feeling disenfranchised. We know this. You can't say you don't already know that, Destiny. So maybe he's not the ideal role model. But the point is that young men today are screaming for some messiah to come and defend them against this sex war, this gender war that exists with or without Andrew Tate. Men and women are already being pitched against each other in every form of media.
Okay, let's let Destiny respond to that.
Okay, all you're telling me is women were mean to men in their content, which, by the way, I agree with. Fuck women that were adversarial towards men. I'm not going to argue with that. But then you're saying, well, because the women were mean, Andrew Tate came, and now we're going to be mean to the women. That doesn't further the conversation.
That's not what. That's
finish my fucking point. Oh my God, you ramble for like 12 minutes. Let me finish my point. Okay,
Let's
you essentially said is that
we'll go back
Andrew
to it.
Tate is existing as a reaction to the negative content that women put out about men. If you want to react to that content and do something positive, then what you do is you say, this is what women said that was adversarial towards men. I don't believe that these relationships need to be adversarial. Let's have a better conversation about it. You don't come out and say, well, those women said fuck men. Well, guess what? I'm here to say fuck women. That's exactly what Andrew Tate is, and I think that's the problem.
Okay.
And he has the right to make whatever type of content he makes.
No one is arguing about who has the right to make the type of what type of content. What are we even responding to?
All right, so if that's your take on whatever issues are going on between men and women, that's your take, Destiny. If he wants to speak about it from that perspective, if that's the character that he wants to create to get the attention of men and rally them, that's his choice. I'm not going to sit here and say it was good or bad.
You can't say things are good or bad.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is,
why not? Why not take a position on it? Like have a backbone and take a position on it.
I already did. You disagree with it. I think that it's overall good for.
Then you think it's good. Then why'd you say I'm not saying if it's good or bad?
Hold on. I think that it's good for me to think about these issues. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong as far as is it more negative or more positive? I don't know. I'm not out there calibrating it, Destiny. I'm sorry. Apparently, you've put a lot more thought into it than I have. Okay, so I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm so current on these issues. I don't fucking know. I just told you I don't even know the name of the man's course, but I've known he's had it for a really long time.
You don't even know who Andrew Tate is. You don't know who
No, it's not that I don't know who Andrew Tate is. It's that
I don't know.
I'm not familiar with that content. Much like I'm not familiar with anyone. I don't know the name of Alex's course. I'm sure you have a course, Alex.
Then why do you have strong opinions on whether his content is good or bad?
Hold on. I never said I had strong opinions.
You just said it was a net good.
Alex.
It sounded a little strong.
One at a time. What's up?
Alex, you have a course, right?
Yeah, I do have a course.
Okay, I've been to your home multiple times, right?
Yeah, multiple times.
I know you personally.
Yeah,
sounds like you don't.
But here's the thing.
Ayendei's my boy.
Hold on, but hold on. Here's the thing, though, Alex. I don't know the name of your course.
Okay, that's okay.
Drop the course, Alex. What's the course?
No,
No.
yeah.
No, I don't want to go off a side tangent. Let's I think some of the girls have shit to say, so let's let the girls talk a little bit. Sorry, I don't know you guys' names.
My daughter has something to say in the beanie, and I'm gonna hear.
No, I was record you while you talk.
Oh, no, you wanted to
All right,
talk.
ladies, we got to talk if we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
You ready?
anybody have an opinion?
All right, I'll go first. So to go back to how this whole tangent started about how the question was, if our girlfriends say that they hear something about high value men, it's a red flag. You have to understand that somebody who's actually had to have that conversation with Fresh and Fit, that podcast, when they say high value men, they push the motive or the narrative that if you make a lot of fucking money, if you give a lot of value to yourself, when you have your girl, you can do whatever you want. You can cheat. That literally doesn't matter. You're a man. You're supposed to be doing these things. But as long as you give yourself value, you can get the girl you want. When it's like, women don't even care. Like, we could be homeless together. As long as I got you, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I agree with you. I feel like all these dudes, all these red pill dudes or whatever it is, like y'all are trying to teach men how to talk to women, how to get women, how to treat them, how to do all this stuff. And you have it all wrong. And the women that you're actually catering to are the women that are going to use you for your money,
Amen.
are the women that are going to use you for
Who are we
materialism. Let
talking
me
about?
finish talking.
Because you said you guys. When have I ever said any of these things you're saying?
Wait, let her finish. She was on some true shit there.
I'm not Fresh and Fit.
Why are you yelling at me when I'm
Because
counteracting
she's
what you
talking about
said?
another podcast,
That's what we're
and then
talking
you guys
about.
are saying you
We're not
guys.
But it
talking
has
about
to
it.
do. It has to do with what they asked.
No, you can't say you guys. So just be clear. If you're talking about that podcast, keep it on that podcast. I never said that.
I said red pill dudes,
I'm not a red
people,
pill dude,
whatever
so
the
you
hell
don't
it
say-
is.
Let's just let her respond.
Wait. Why we brought this up was because you stated that seeing a man say something about high value men
Puts women
isn't a red flag, and you're saying that seeing that as a red flag is toxic. That's how
Okay,
it
go
was brought
go
up.
ahead and finish your point so we can go around.
Yeah, no, it is very alarming for us women. We do not like it. We're not fans of it. Majority of women. I'm a woman. I know many women, and it's a negative for us. That's pretty much it.
Sorry, what's her name again?
So is when a woman says she's a feminist, or she went to this particular college, or she holds the same views as. So come on.
What does that have to do with
all I'm
anything?
saying is it goes both ways. It has to do with- hold on. The comment initially was that when high value men is mentioned, women start to become concerned. Is the guy that I'm talking to consuming this red pill content? So all I'm saying, guys, is there's a duality to that. It goes both ways. When guys, hold on, just let me finish. Give me a second. Just clarifying this. When guys are on dates and they're meeting girls, and girls say they watch certain shows and consume certain content, it's the same type of red flag for us. So just so we're clear on that.
Okay.
Let's let.
I think just on the for what she said, and this is like it's the truest fucking thing in the world. Like if you were trying to help a guy get laid, or if you were trying to help a guy like pick up women, or more importantly, if you were trying to help a guy get in a good, healthy relationship, like red pillars give the worst advice in the world. That like ultra masculine shit only works if you're like a top 1% dude and you've got so many other bases covered. Otherwise, there's no way that you could get away with treating women like some of these guys tell you can. And even in those cases, you can't get away with treating women like these guys tell you again. The like highly successful men can juggle 5 women at once and they'll be happy for it. Or that if you cheat on your woman, it makes her more competitive with other women. Like these are like insane pieces of advice. I feel like men have to go to therapy to unlearn shit that they would learn from red pillars if they ever want to have a shot at a successful relationship.
I kind of agree with you.
I agree with you totally, and that's why I'm not red pill. I've said that exactly so many times that this shit right here would never work for the average guy. In fact, they'll probably get your ass locked up. So that's why I'm making it clear. Don't say you guys, because that's why I said it's problematic that women think when they hear these terms, they know these guys. I know this content. Oh my God, he thinks like that. First of all, they don't know or understand that content. They think they do. They're on the outside getting upset because they don't like what they hear, but they're not actually listening or understanding where it's coming from or what it means. That within itself is problematic. The next thing is they're misassociating men with it. They're thinking that guy's red pill. He's been, and no, he's really not. You're not differentiating it. Just like, hold on, just like people would mix up all black people and put them in a group. They'll put all Asians in a group. There's many times I've had to tell.
Oh my
people,
God!
If someone is
That's
from
irrelevant.
Ethiopia, don't call them African, because in their mind they're not
Okay.
African. They're Ethiopian. But groups from the outside look at them all as the same, right?
Wait, I'm just curious. What's a piece of advice you think women misinterpret from the red pill?
I don't think it's the advice. It's just the nature of it, the tone of it.
What's one thing? Just like what's one thing they misinterpret?
It's not one thing. They all encompass
anything.
I'm telling you, Destiny, stop cutting me off. They think it's all hatred for women. They think it's
okay.
all
So what's a piece that they think is hatred that's not?
Let me finish.
He's not saying. He doesn't say anything ever. It's like driving me crazy. Holy shit.
I'm saying everything. Right? You're good at what you do, bro. I'm gonna keep giving that to you.
I'm good because I give examples of what I'm talking about instead of speaking
I'm
these
giving
empty
examples.
platitudes. You're not giving me a single example of anything.
I'm giving an example right now. They think that everything in the red pill is negative to women. It's volatile to women. It's harmful to women. That's what they think and believe, and that's not the case. Now, I'm not red pill, but I understand all the talking points. I understand where it's coming from. Just because I am not a simp or I can't relate to the simp, I can understand where they're coming from. Just because I don't live that life or have those experiences with women, I 100% understand where it's coming from because I have spoken to a lot of women. I have spoken to a lot of guys, and I've been the guy that the woman is being honest with and telling me how these guys get treated. So I can understand how
you think it's a negative.
Eventually, those guys are going to form their own kind of reaction.
I'll restate the main point without saying anything new. Okay.
Okay,
If a woman were to give specific examples of things that red pillars say, so for instance, guys should always be going for lower women body counts, like lower age women, because they have less trauma. Does that sound like an insulting thing to say to women, or does that sound like a positive thing to say for women?
I think it's neither negative or positive. You're looking for the connotation. I'm looking for the truth of it. How accurate is that? And there's no studies that disprove that.
It's insulting as fuck.
Why would it be insulting? Hold on. Why would that be insulting?
Because you're basically telling men that like once a woman is past like. Okay, sure. Yeah, go for it.
Why? Because we grow and we experience things and shit happens, and it's just a part of growing. So what you're saying is the moment a woman hits 28 or 30 years old, oh, she's too damaged. And it's like, first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, you're generalizing. And third of all, yeah, people get damaged. Men are damaged. Everybody's fucking damaged. That's the problem with that. And it is insulting. It's very insulting.
It's really not insulting. Someone just chooses looking at it and insulting. If you don't want to deal with certain issues with a woman, and the women that are of a certain age that have had certain experiences tend to have this mood, and you don't want to deal with that mood. And someone's saying to you, hey, bro, you could just go younger. You could just get girls that haven't had those experiences yet. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and give you my honest opinion. I believe that those negative experiences are mostly the fault of whatever toxic guy gave her those experiences. She fell for that guy. She liked that guy. And what he chose to do with her infatuation, her interest, was hurtful and harmful to her. That's very unfortunate. However, the guys that she dates after that are going to have to deal with that trauma. So when guys are saying that, they're simply saying, because they're not catering to your feelings, they're catering to the guy that's like, what should I do? She's like 30, bro. And guys are just saying, hey, bro, at that age, the amount of guys she's dated, the amount of time she's been broken up with, the amount of time she's been cheated on, she's not going to be the same as prior to those experiences, and you're going to have to deal with that baggage. Can you handle it?
Okay, to everybody outside of the little very narrow red pill sphere, what that sounds like is you want a younger woman so you can take advantage of her.
Exactly.
You don't want to fuck with a woman who's 25 or 30 because she knows better. She'll be onto your shit, and you're not going to be able to get away with as much dumb shit. Whereas with a 19 or 20-year-old, you can say the most retarded shit, and they'll go along with it because they don't know better.
Exactly. That was excellent what you just did, Destiny. And I'm going to go ahead and say, although I agree with that, the point I was trying to make is if you are the next guy and you're not toxic, you're not an asshole, you're not going to hurt her and do all those things, you still have to deal with a woman that has already had those things done to her. Period.
Yeah. Do you think he's got to restate the same thing 4 different ways?
Go ahead and clarify what they want. Go ahead and trigger ears. I'm going to go ahead and offend ears since it's so offensive. The analogy that guys would use with no emotions and no feelings is it's like someone buying a used car that's been in accidents before and saying, I'm a better driver than the past drivers that had wrecked that car. I'm not going to wreck the car. I drive safely. However, cars has already been in wrecks. So if you buy that car, you're taking on those wrecks. Sorry.
Wait, I got a question. Wait, on that. That's so important, okay? Because my question then is would you apply it the other way around? That women should all be looking for men that haven't been in relationships before, that men that haven't been hurt before?
No, because unfortunately, Destiny, men and women aren't the same.
So you have to
come from the paradigm that life experiences affect men and women the same, which they don't.
Okay, and so again,
having experiences would actually make them a better mate, a better husband, a better.
That is just so not true. Like the entire red pill space to everybody outside of it reeks of who hurt you, boo? That's what it sounds like to every
does.
other person
It
outside of this
does.
space. But it's because of exactly what you're saying, right? When you're like 29, you're like, these fucking women, they divorce men, they take all their shit, and all of them have baggage and they're horrible. And I need a good 19-year-old. Everybody from the outside looks at everybody from the outside. Everybody from the outside looks in and they go, wow, these men are hurting because they've been fucked around by a girl before. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly. I agree 100%, which is why I came into this space with the idea of bringing women in so that they can say their side. Because from the outside looking in, when you have these conversations, absence of women, that's what it sounds like to like 90% of other people, which is why I agree with you 100%, Destiny, that it sounds like bad advice to give to men, because I actually do well with women. So when I'm with women and I'm listening to that content, they always have that response to it, although they don't have that response to me, but they have that response to the content. So I know they hate it. The difference is I still press play. I still listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And if they don't want to hear it, they can go take a walk. They can do whatever and come back when I'm done. So I'm not arguing or disputing any of those things. I know how it sounds to other people. Unfortunately, that's not what it is to the people who are saying this and feeling this way. So it's easy for you to say that. Have you been divorced? Have you had your property taken before, Destiny?
What divorce and property taken is a very small minority of marriages. Why would you even use this as standard dating advice?
He can relate to that. That's why.
What is your? Yeah. What is your?
Wow.
Wait, have you been divorced? Has your stuff been taken?
Yes.
Yes. So
So you okay? Hold on. So to be clear, you're exactly the same as like when was it Kevin Samuels, when the woman comes on and the guy's like, "Are you a single mom?" and she's like, "Yeah." You're the male version of that, basically.
No, not really. Because here the thing is, I don't hold a grudge for it though.
Really?
I'm not upset about it. What I'm saying is that I was aware that it could happen before it happened to me, and I thought, not me. That would never be me. I'm not like these lame guys. I'm not a cuck. I'm not weak. But it did still happen. So with that being said, you know why it happened? Because that's how the law is designed. So these are the type of issues that these guys are tackling. So to other people, it sounds like you should have chose a different wife. But to the people that have experienced it, it sounds like the laws aren't fair. So that's where the disconnect is, Destiny. And we need to agree that there is a disconnect. Now, I'm asking you a question you haven't answered. Have you been divorced before?
Yep. I got divorced from my first wife.
Okay. Did you lose property in that divorce?
Nope.
Okay, so you can't relate to that aspect. Did you have children with her that you have to have some type of joint custody, or you don't have full custody?
I have an ex-girlfriend that I have a child with that we have shared custody of. Yes.
Okay, but so you have shared custody.
Yes.
Okay, so you can't relate to the guys who don't have custody.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just saying that those people, they relate to that type of content because
that type of content where they hate women because they've had a bad experience with one. Is that the point?
I mean, if you get from it that they hate women, I get from it more.
I do get from it that they hate women. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fair. But what I get from it, and what a lot of people who might agree with those talking points of that content get from it, is that I hate having that happen to me. It's not that I hate women; it's that I hate having that happen to me. Like, for example, we have a whole passport bros movement. Now, I'm not a passport bro, but I traveled a lot, and I started traveling at a young age. So I can relate to them and why they would want to do that, because experiencing foreign women is nothing new to me. So if men are willing to move to a whole nother country to possibly to have the type of relationship dynamic that they want with someone that agrees with that relationship dynamic, doesn't strike me as someone that hates women.
Yeah, to take advantage of somebody that's poor and doesn't know any better, and you're like a foreign person. Yeah, of course.
Just let me finish, because again, you see how that's the take that other people have from it. That's the take that the people that aren't doing it have. So I have a different take.
No, that's just like that's the obvious take. I've traveled a lot too. You got it. You got to make it to the point, Pastor. Holy shit!
No, I am getting to the point. So there's guys that they travel, and like, for example, when I travel to these countries, I'm dating women that speak perfect English. They have degrees. They like work for the government. They might be dentists. They might be doctors, lawyers. They drive Maseratis, all kind of. So I'm not going to take advantage of the social economics. I'm not going to take advantage of a woman that doesn't know English. I'm not taking advantage of a woman that's mentally weak. So all I'm saying is we're grouping all these guys into one category, when in all actuality, the guys that are traveling for that type of dynamic are actually in the minority. Most of these guys just want a girlfriend that's going to be like, nice to them. They're not trying to dominate or control them. They're literally just trying to be nice. And the interesting part is a lot of those women in those countries actually desire American and Western men because they're way more laxed than the men they already have. The American men don't mind them working. The American men don't mind them being independent and doing all these things because we're from a country where we're already used to that. The difference is in our country, the women do not submit. They're not overly feminine. They're not overly cooperative. And they're not like loving and affectionate. That's what most guys are experiencing. They're being starved for affection, and that's what they want.
It's like never ending.
Right? So
This is
it's not that they hate women; it's that they
Uh-huh.
hate the experiences they have with women in this culture.
they want to date a child, basically, right? This is
No,
the biggest
no,
quote I've ever
I don't
heard
see
in my
that.
entire life. Like, I think if
That's a quote.
you could have one statement from a guy that is the biggest
Mhm.
red flag ever, it's a guy that says, "I really want a good wife from Eastern Europe." And the idea that you would say, "Oh no, you go to Eastern Europe to find like doctors and lawyers," that's not the average woman that you're finding when you go to an Eastern European country. You're not going to fucking Romania or Ukraine to pick up a fucking doctor or a lawyer woman that's driving around in a
Probably be
McLaren.
old too.
See,
Wait,
this is
that's
why I
hang
don't-
on. Let me step in real quick. Okay, because this is interesting because there's some things I agree with Ayendei on, some things I agree with Destiny on. But right now, Destiny, in my opinion, you're making a straw man argument. Okay, that's all about like finding a woman who's like impressionable. That's not what Ayendei's saying. He's saying, hey, there are women that are more feminine, more traditional, and that's what I'm personally looking for in a wife. Whether that's right or wrong is a different thing, but that's what I want. I want a woman. It's not about I want like an 18-year-old girl who I can manipulate. That's not what he's saying.
I think it's you're looking for. I know what they're saying, but the reality of how it plays out for anybody that's been involved, like actually in these scenes, and not how they romanticize it in the red pill community. And as somebody that's gone to other countries and fucked my way through a lot of countries, if you're an American guy in a lot of these countries, you have a lot of clout immediately because you're exotic, because they think you have money. That's why. It's not because they're looking for like, oh, I love your American Western values man that you have because you're blah, blah, blah. It's because like, holy shit, you're probably loaded and it would be sick to go to the United States or travel with you. That's what women are attracted to. The reason why you can do that is because you're flexing the fact that you can travel internationally. Of course.
Exactly. It's an instant hike in status that leads to attraction, and that's what they want. They want a woman that actually likes them and wants to be with them. Now, even if, worst case scenario, she's just with you for, I don't know, citizenship like they claim, although most of these women do not want to leave this country, either way, they feel that it's a better deal. Just like women are going to be selective about the guys that they marry because they want a better deal. Well, that's what guys are doing.
Yeah,
now,
I agree with you.
I want to.
It takes like 10 minutes to respond to everything, Alex. You got to make him go quicker because he's making like 50 fucking points, and now he's going to make like 7 more.
Right. Sorry that I got a lot of points.
But no, it's not. It's that you don't want me to respond to anything because you know how stupid everything you're saying is. It's like it's just annoying. You're gonna go like walk on like 15 more points.
Like I was saying earlier, I personally, my style, right, is I like to deal with things more that I have a personal experience with. So even with the whole quote unquote traveling for women thing, all the guys that I've advised to travel for women are doing a combination of like only 3 things. They're either going out there to date casually beautiful women that they feel they have a better experience with, and the whole dating scene there is cheaper, more affordable. You can do more for your money. So there's that aspect of it. Then there's the guys that are out there like, you know, genuinely dating and trying to like find someone to be with and maybe a whole culture change and live there. And then there's the guys that are already married to a foreign woman. And in none of those, and in none of those circumstances,
you got to make 4 more points, Alex.
It's the guy taking advantage. It's the same fucking point. In none of those examples, is the guy
why say it again?
Taking advantage of the woman. They're actually both very, very happy and feel they have an advantage with this other person for different reasons. The guy feels like he has a more feminine, cooperative foreign woman that shares the values that he shares, and the woman feels like she has a guy that isn't going to necessarily take advantage of the fact that he has more status than her in that particular environment, whereas their men might be a hell of a lot more controlling and unreasonable.
Okay, guys.
So they're both fucking happy. I don't see why there's such a problem with it.
Okay. When you go after like
real quick. I'm gonna institute a new rule because Destiny said that he doesn't have much time. So we're gonna go to more lightning rounds where basically every person has 30 seconds to respond to the other person.
Thank
Just
fucking
because
God.
we're limited on time. Okay.
All right,
Okay,
I just
when
want to
we're
head
heading-
out, guys. Thank you so much, Destiny. You're awesome. Thank you for having me, guys.
All right, have fun. When you're going to these Eastern European women, what is like the average age of a woman you're hitting on?
Well,
Like
I don't go to Eastern Europe, but I don't know any guys that are there dealing with underage women. These guys are dealing with grown women.
Okay, when you're going to Dubai or wherever you go, you just said that you travel internationally, South America. I don't know. When you're trying to pick up women, like what is the average age of these women?
21 or well, not even 21. It wouldn't even be 21 to be honest with you, but maybe the youngest for me, and I'm not a young guy. So maybe the youngest for me might be 24, 25.
Okay, then do you understand that you lied earlier when you said that you fuck with doctors and lawyers? Because they're not 21 or 24, 25. These are
I'm not, Destiny, and I love how you do what you do, bro. I didn't say that. I said the youngest. So the average age of the women I deal with is late 20s. The average. I said the youngest would be 24, 25. So
I haven't seen your content, but I don't believe that you suggest that guys go overseas to find 30-year-old women in these countries. I don't believe you. Not even for a micro. I don't even think you believe yourself.
Hold on. No. I said me personally. I think the guys that are traveling are dealing with very, very early 20s. I think they're probably dealing with 19, 20, 21. But how old are these guys, though? These guys are 25, 26. That's the age group I would recommend.
Your
You know
guys
what
are
I'm saying?
25 years old traveling internationally. Are all of your clients like super wealthy?
No, I said if guys were. I said what age are the guys we're talking about? The first guy that I sent to Mexico, hold on. The first guy that I sent to Mexico was 54. The woman he married was 15 years younger than him. So subtract 15 from 54. That's how old he was. So in his case, yes, he did go there for a woman in their 30s, right? But then other guys that would be 30, 35, and they would be dealing with women that are 25, 26. So I don't see an issue with the age disparity because that's the same age disparity that I see in attraction in the States. There are 26-year-old girls here that are dating guys 35, 36, 37. So I don't
Let me
see.
just quickly pose.
He's got to do 4 more points, Alex.
Okay, let me just quickly pose a question to Destiny because I think there's some miscommunication going on. So, Destiny, if a guy travels to South America because he's into Latina girls, he meets a Latina who's 22, 23-year-old who's really into him. Like, why is that bad? Assuming there's no
this is one of those things where you can try to like get into the weeds and argue like the narrow points of maybe sometimes some people do this thing. I don't buy any of it, and I know plenty of guys that do this. What's happening is weak men go to other countries to find vulnerable women because they can exert way more influence on them than they ever could in the United States of America. That is de facto the case. You're telling me you're looking for let me finish my fucking response. You're telling me you're looking for a Latino woman and you've got to go to fucking Mexico to find it? Bro, go to California, go to Texas, go to New Mexico, go to fucking Florida. You can find Latino women everywhere in the United States. The only reason why you go to Mexico or Central America is because you're looking for poor women that are going to fucking flock to you because you're white and you got a ton of money, or because you're black and you're fucking exotic and foreign from the United States of America. That's why they do it.
Okay, now
wait. Let me just quickly respond, Destiny. Don't take this the wrong way, buddy. But your wife is Swedish. I mean, like you're one of like what makes you different than the guys you're
passport, bro.
Do you think that people in Sweden are desperately looking for foreign men to save them the same way that people in Eastern European and South America are? Wait, hold on, wait. Did you really just make that comparison?
Yeah,
because as an American guy who has clout, you're going to be kind of like on a higher up scale when you go to Sweden. There's not a lot of guys who have clout in Sweden. There's not that many Americans there due to strict whatever immigration and whatnot. So yeah, like you are going to be exotic there, and that is going to give you a lot of points. And there's nothing wrong with that. The fact that
hold on, wait. You're wrong. I don't know what to tell you. As somebody that's been to parts of Southeast Asia, multiple parts. Somebody I haven't been to South America yet, Central America, and parts of Europe. I don't think I've ever gotten clout points in like Germany or France or the UK for being American or Sweden for being American. But when I'm in Taiwan or when I'm in South Korea, I get a lot of points for being white and American. And from what I've heard from people, if you go to a place in Eastern Europe or if you go to South America, you get a lot of clout for being American. I'm not going to go to Sweden and it's like, oh my God, you're American. Like, let me fucking marry you. Bro, it's a first world country. You're not trying to flock to America from Sweden.
You straight up said that, your wife slid into your DMs. Like
yes.
That, obviously that's because you have clout.
But but it's not. I'm not talking about picking up women because of clout. I'm talking about finding vulnerable women to pick up because you can't get anybody in your country. That's You go to Eastern Europe and you go to South America because these are women that their financial options kind of suck. They're kind of like relegated to sometimes not the best of lives. Getting enough money to travel to exotic places, especially like the United States, usually out of reach. And a U.S. guy will usually like come by and pick one of these people up, and that's like their ticket out of that situation sometimes. But people in like Germany, in France, in the UK, in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, in Sweden, in Norway, they're not looking for tickets to escape their country like somebody in like Romania or even like Lithuania or places in Central or South America are. It's a totally different world in terms of like picking up people.
But wait, if it's okay to use your clout to pick up girls, why is it not okay to use, your travel
in another country to pick up girls? What the fuck?
I don't think there's anything wrong with using clout to pick up girls. What I think is interesting to me, what I think is a red flag is when somebody says, I need to leave my country to find a good woman. That sounds to me like you're not capable of competing on this market because these women know better, and you're looking for a woman that's living in poverty that sees you as an escape. Right. That's what I hear. I don't think that's what most people hear.
Well, Destiny is just really excellent at disagreeing. That's why, 90% of the time, I can't tell if you actually or he's just being contentious, because the picture that you're painting is that's what all guys are traveling for. That's what most.
When people talk about going to East Europe or South America,
I wouldn't even say most. I think there's a percentage of every variety. I think there are guys that are going to take advantage of it. I'm 100% sure that happens. There's guys that find vulnerable women they can take advantage of right here in America. The discussion we were having today is dudes that literally use that roommate app. They use that roommate app to try to figure out how to make a girl go from their roommate to their girlfriend. They come in under a false pretense. Come on,
or guys that tell you to date women that are 19 or 20 because they have less baggage. It's the same thing.
But what I'm trying to say is that's a small demographic. How many guys out there are really in their 30s that are intentionally going for girls that are still in their teens? I don't really think that's the majority, Destiny. I definitely agree that
no, but that's what the Tates recommend.
Wait, Destiny though.
I guess they do. I've heard Andrew say that myself, so I can't deny that. And I thought to myself, yeah, I'm not looking for no 19. But
let me just make a point real quick. I have no doubt that there are some guys who travel to these third world countries because they can't get laid in America and they want to have the power dynamic in their favor. And I would fully be willing to concede that some of them manipulate girls. However, that being said, using myself as a personal example, right? I can get laid in America. I can get laid wherever I go. What I like about traveling to other countries like Eastern Europe or South America is that, one, the women are more feminine. I've just noticed that. They're typically more reliable. They're less flaky. And I find on average, they have better values. Yep. So there are some practical, tangible benefits to dating in a third world country. Again, my girlfriend's from the U.S., right? I was able to find a great girl in the U.S., but I can see why someone who's like, okay, you know what? I just want to find a great girlfriend. Let me travel to a place where there's more great girlfriends on average.
Alex, let me just throw one more thing in there real quick because I think it needs to be said. Your experience traveling is not going to be the same as Destiny's experience traveling. It's not going to be the same as my experience traveling. So saying that, oh, you don't get any clout in other Western countries as an American, as what American? Because black guys get a different type of attraction in any other country. Doesn't matter if that country is doing better or worse economically. There's guys that could go to rich countries richer than America, and they do great just because they're exotic or desirable there. So it depends on which American is doing that. And it's also disingenuous to say, oh, if you want Latin women, there's Latin women right here. Yeah, with American ideology. So it's the same thing as the argument that black men are like not interested in black women, but yet they're going to mostly Brazil and DR to get dark-skinned women from those countries. So the it's important. So the issue is not race for them. The issue is not age. The issue is not economics. The issue is the mentality that Western women have. So we can keep ignoring that. We keep ignoring that. And
he's got to restate the same thing 4 times.
Shaming these guys for all these reasons that are despicable while ignoring the major reason, which is not despicable at all. It's extremely reasonable. That's
the point I made. We're in agreement. So let's let Destiny respond to both.
Well, I want to say one thing. It's just like everyone's like, in these spaces is like women are masculine. So it's just like in this whole vacuum of the United States, the women are masculine, but the men remain like the men are all good. Like the men aren't feminine. Because it's like, when are we going to discuss men being feminine?
They are very.
When are we going to?
I think that's a fair point. I want to let Destiny respond.
I feel like that hasn't been part of the discussion. It's just like maybe we should import maybe some Russian guys, some Cuban guys, like real macho men in this country, just to balance it out.
Fortunately, I'm Russian and Destiny.
I think it should be balanced.
You got best of both worlds. All right, let's let Destiny respond to this.
I mean, like we're at a fundamental disagreement. Like, you can give me these points that like, oh, well, some men are traveling because they're just looking for a good woman, blah, 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 blah. That's fine. And I'm sure that is true for some men, but overwhelmingly, like, it's a red flag to me when I hear a guy say, I need to go to Eastern Europe or South or Central America to find a good woman. What I'm hearing is, I need to find a woman that isn't going to catch me on my bullshit and needs me for the money that I provide. That's what I'm hearing when somebody says
that's only one aspect of it, though. That's only one group of guys. There's only certain guys that are doing that. That's not the majority. That's not all.
Okay. I think it's the majority.
I agree, but I just don't agree that that's the dominant. I don't agree that that's the focus. That's the narrative.
Well, that's why I said we fundamentally disagree on that. That's why I just said that.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Unless we have some statistics, we're not going to be able to get to the bottom of it. All three of us agree that some men travel to third world countries for nefarious purposes, and some do it for good purposes. But the question is which, what percentage? So if I had to venture to say, I think that the majority of guys who travel third world countries, not trying to do anything manipulative or exploitative. They're just literally traveling there because, one, quality of life is cheaper, two, maybe they just want to travel, and three, they would like to meet a cool girl from that country because they're more attracted to this type of girl. Maybe those girls are more feminine and so on. But there are practical, tangible reasons why a guy might want to date in a different country. But okay, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get to the bottom of it without having a study of percentages.
It just is like if we dive more into it, like it doesn't even really make sense. Like, meeting somebody who's foreign is already like a big hurdle, depending on, especially when you start taking language barriers into account in terms of like trying to build a relationship with somebody. You have absolutely
you haven't done it. Because you haven't.
My wife is literally sweet. Fucking moron. What are you talking about?
No, first of all, don't call me a fucking moron. Second of all,
Sure.
I personally have had many experiences with women that we barely speak the same language. And it's
Yeah,
gone
those are
better.
probably the ones that you do the best with. That doesn't surprise me, my dude.
No,
That's not the
that's-
compliment. That's not the
no,
compliment you think it
no.
is, my dude.
No,
Women are best when they can't understand a single fucking word I'm saying. Like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
No. What I'm saying is that I do well with women in general, even when the culture is different. So you're saying that why? Because that's not how it is for you. So I don't know what makes you the arbiter of every other man's experience. You don't know what the fuck these guys are traveling for, what they're doing. You're just assuming that's what it is, and that's fine. If that's what you think it mostly is, that's what you believe it mostly is. That's not what I've seen mostly. Just like I can tell you, simping in this country is not a good look. You get ran over like a rug. But simping in these other countries is quite effective. That simp behavior works in a lot of the countries. So who's the sucker in that scenario? Who's that sucker in that scenario?
I don't even know what you mean by simp behavior. I don't know what that even means.
Who's the sucker in that scenario when the guy's behaving that way in another country, but he's still getting the girlfriend? So who's the sucker? Because the girl is getting this type of treatment from the guy, but the guy's actually getting the girlfriend. Now that
because he's rich and he's exotic.
No, I'm not.
You're restating the same thing 15 times.
Nobody said anything about rich. Nobody said anything about rich. He's just a nice guy. And what I'm trying to tell you is just being a nice guy, no toxicity, okay? No red pill forced ideology on the woman. Just being a regular old nice guy that usually gets rejected in America and usually gets taken advantage of America, that actually gets you a steady long-term girlfriend in these other countries. So who are you? So who are you to say?
He's got to restate it. He's got to restate it one more time, Alex.
So who are you? No, I'm not restating. I'm asking you a question. So who are you to determine that he's weak for going to another country?
Because when you're
who are you to determine that doesn't?
You got to ask the same question two ways.
No, it's not the same question because those are two things that you said. You said leaving the country for a woman means that you're a weak man, and you also said that it doesn't make any sense. So I'm asking, what makes you the arbiter of that? What makes destiny determine whether it makes sense or it means you're weak?
Okay, let's let him answer.
By definition, you're literally saying that the men are too simpy in America, but when they go to these other poorer countries, they get rewarded for their simpery. Like by definition, I consider a simp man a weak man. So that's what you're telling me, like deductively, as true. So
no, my guy. I said simp behavior. I didn't say him being simpy or too simpy. And what I'm saying is, what I'm making is, and you guys can laugh like it's not making sense. It's making perfect fucking sense. What I'm saying is that type of guy, it didn't work for him here. But if he went to that other country, he wouldn't have to use money or anything else. He could just be the same nice guy that he was here, and it's more effective. Meaning the women in general are more receptive to all type of guys. And that's why guys, hold on. And that's why guys are traveling for a multitude of reasons. And different types of guys traveling.
You're not just a normal guy in these other countries. You're a rich, wealthy American tourist.
So let's cut to this question. So do you feel that the women are not in any way better in these other countries than they are in the West?
Fuck no.
Okay, that's your opinion. But most guys feel that foreign women actually make better.
A lot of guys probably do. A lot of guys are weak men. They can't handle a woman that has a fucking job. Most guys rely on the fact that they have a paycheck to capture a fucking woman. Yeah, of course.
They still want a girlfriend. So if everybody wants a Ferrari, and in Italy, Ferraris are cheaper. Don't be surprised if broke men go to Italy to get a Ferrari. That's why.
What are these stories that you're presenting? That like, oh, broke men go to Italy to buy Ferraris to get women? Who are you even talking about?
Okay.
Right
I did not say to get women.
I'm muting both of you guys. Okay, just give me like literally 30 seconds, and then we can go back to the.
You want a woman, and if it's easier to get a woman in the country, they're going to go there.
I'm about to make your point for you. All right, Destiny, do you think I'm a weak man? Everything you know about me?
I don't know why you prefer whatever woman that you do, but I would say as a general statement, men that say that they can't handle American women are weaker men to me. That's what I do.
But they're not saying that. I'm not saying I can't
exactly
handle American women. I've handled countless and countless American women, but I think that's different than acknowledging that there's some cultural differences between, let's say, Colombia and America.
Yeah, there are cultural differences, of course,
right, which are beneficial as a partner for dating. Like,
yeah, they're beneficial because the woman is usually more easily controllable. She usually doesn't know too much. She comes from a culture where she's supposed to be submissive and subservient to men. It's like a fucking dream. If you're raised in the United States and you can capture one of these like young, submissive, like knows nothing, like can't really work well or get a job, like Eastern European or South American women or whatever, and you draft one of these in your household, you've got like the perfect like chow bang maid. Yeah, of course. I can understand why that's attractive.
You're way off about that. Latino women, if anything, are way more feisty than the average white girl.
Exactly.
But going back to this, the reason that I find Latina girls to be on average better partners than chicks in America is they're more feminine, They have better relationships with their family. They're more family oriented, which meshes with me. I think that they take more pride in their appearance. And I think also they're better in bed. I think that they're on average less flaky and more reliable when it comes to like something important. So there's 5 practical reasons why.
Okay, if you say sure, and I can knock 2 of these off immediately. If you're going to South America and marrying a woman and bringing her back to the United States, how does that have a better relationship with her family or make her more family oriented when you're literally abducting her from her family to bring her back to the U.S. to marry her?
No one's
starting a new family, Destiny. She's starting a new family.
And you shouldn't bring her back. You should stay.
I would be against bringing a girl back. Yeah, if you're hanging out there, you're living there. What's wrong with hanging out?
Why bring her back?
I never said there's anything wrong. If you want to move to another country and then like socialize with the locals and find that's fine. But that's not what we're talking about here.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. We're not. We're talking about men that are going to other countries to find wives and bring them back to the United States or use their fucking American influence to like.
Okay, maybe we're talking past each other, but it's not what I was talking about.
Are we talking about moving to other countries like permanently? If you want to do that, I guess that's a different topic though than like a passport.
We're talking about having relationships with women who live in different countries and analyzing whether those women on average are better or worse than women in America.
Yeah, that was the initial question. But Destiny, what I want to ask you is, if the women are already the way you described, if they're already submissive, they're already raised to see things that way, why would the guy be wrong for going to a place where the women are already like that? How is he taking advantage of them?
There's nothing wrong with that. No, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to do, I'm trying to answer. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's usually weaker guys that do it because they're intimidated by women that have more experience or awareness of the world. Eastern European women, South American women, these are very easy to manipulate people. They don't know any better. They don't know shit. If you're going to like poor areas, especially, right?
Let me ask you this, Destiny. Do you think it's possible that there might be guys that they do well with women here, they get women here, they date women here, they can even marry women here, they've been married to women here or whatever, but they still prefer the women in these other countries? Is that guy still weak if he has no problem attracting women here?
It's possible, but like I'm trying to have an intelligent conversation about the reason why people in general say statements. If you want to give me this like hyperspace, like, well, there might be a guy that does well here and then he goes to other countries. See, that's not who we're talking about because by definition,
there's a lot of guys that travel that are doing quite well here.
Hold on. You open this conversation with guys do simping behavior for women here and it doesn't work, and then they simp in other countries and it doesn't work. That's what we're talking about. Guys that
you're already having the discussion. I said an example is regardless of what your approach is or your personality is with women, regardless of what your charisma is, you still have a better shot in these other countries. Whether you're a 4, a 5, a 3, an 8, a 10, whether you make 20,000 a year, 50,000 a year, 100,000 a year, either way, you have a better shot there. So if you're closing the deal 3 times a month in America, you'll close the deal 8 times a month in another country. That's the argument that I was having, is that no matter what your strategy is, you do better with the women in these other countries. I don't think it's only isolated to men that are weak. I don't think only
I disagree. That's fine. We can agree to disagree. That's fine. If you need to go down to other areas where you've got a better shot because you can't hack it here, then go do that. That's fine. That's great.
You're making a straw man argument right now. You're better than this.
No, that's what he literally is saying. He's literally saying that, like, well, they won't do as well here and they can do better in other places. That's fine. They go to other places and do it. That's fine. I'm saying you can go for it. That's fine. Amen, dude.
There's an equal argument being having right here in the States. And that argument is that the men can't handle a strong, independent woman. And the confusion is, no, he could just simply not want it. That's 2 different things. Not being able to afford something and not wanting to buy it is 2 different things. Men don't have a desire to deal with these qualities. Whether they're too weak to handle it or deal with it, or they just are opting out to deal with it because they're not interested in it. They're not interested in that extra effort. That's the difference. I think that both guys are going.
Okay, so then here's a question. Let's see. I know how much you hate this because it actually forced you to answer a real question. Can you give me like 1 or 2? Let's do one quality that you think a Western woman has that's undesirable versus an Eastern European or South American woman.
The independent, being strong and independent, not needing a man. Even
that's a negative quality to you?
Yes. By
fucking kill me, fam. Okay, then fucking go to the next topic.
Hold on. By verbally saying that I don't need a man, that's as to say that that's the motivation.
Gotcha.
For why she does what she does. And hold on. I will argue that it is genuinely her motivation because I actually ask women. Just like you like to ask the question directly, I directly ask women, why do you want this career? What made you go to the school and get this degree? What made you do this? And overwhelmingly, the answer is, so I do not have to rely on no man. So I
Wait,
do not.
I've never heard that in my life. That's like a mean answer.
Well, are you
But-
asking women? I've heard it every time I've asked women
Well,
almost.
let me actually answer Destiny's question because I see
Just as
where
a heads up, Alex, I got 5 minutes, so go for it.
Okay. Here would be my answer. What are the practical downsides? They're less feminine on average, and also they're more combative. That's how I would answer.
You
that.
just said that Latino women were more feisty. How are they
No,
more feisty?
we're talking about girls in the U.S., my man.
No, but you're telling me girls in the U.S. are less combative than girls in South America, but you said Latinos on average are more feisty than women here. What does that mean?
Feisty doesn't necessarily mean combative. Like
Exactly.
feisty means you're like kind of like you got a lot of spirit, you're passionate, right? You're like, no papi, right?
and they don't take no
I-
shit.
I- don't- I have no-
picking fights for the sake of picking fights.
Nobody picked. Okay, never mind. Okay, you got me for 5 more minutes. What else do you want to go over?
Wait, you don't think women?
Real quick, there's a super chat in here.
You don't think there's some women out there who do that?
If you've got like a real weirdo, I guess it's possible. But no, I mean, as much as men pick fights to pick fights, I don't think American women are picking fights to pick fights. That's just like a.
There's so. I mean, I'm not saying every American woman. I don't think it's even 50%.
I'm not saying every. I'm saying in general because we're talking in generalities for why we prefer other women to American women, and you're saying that American women are more combative, despite the
Which
fact
you
that.
yourself
Well,
obviously
I
do.
want to just add that it really
I would
depends.
definitely say that American women, on average, are more combative than like Eastern European women. 100%. Go ahead.
Yeah, read this super chat.
Oh,
I
no,
thought somebody
no.
was saying something. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
no,
4
no.
minutes. What are we at?
One of my boys asked if I traveled recently. Yeah, what's up, AT? Yeah, I know I've been to Cartagena. I've been to Colombia. I mean, my experience there has been pleasant, definitely different. I think Ayendei's definitely hitting the nail on the head with the mentality of women there is different. I mean, whether the guy's weak or not, I think that's neither here nor there. If he goes over there and automatically he's in a different tax bracket, he's doing better with women. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't know why I think it's a good thing. I don't look at it as weak being bad. I think if you can go over there and you can get better results, then do it. Guys like the path of least resistance. And there's a lot of resistance here in the United States.
Exactly.
Let me make a point for Destiny. We have him only for like 3 more minutes. And then he's going to disappear into the metaverse. Okay. I'm going to preface it by saying, like 99% of the time I agree with you. So I'm not just picking a fight.
No, yeah, I know.
However, I do think it comes off. You correct me if I'm wrong, that you're shaming the men who are choosing to go overseas for their dating goals. That's kind of how it comes off to me.
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah.
Well, why?
Because
Like,
if you're, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to do it. But if you're one of the guys who's like, I can't handle Western women, like you're a Western man. What do you mean you can't handle a woman in your own culture? And you're saying you've got to go to a poorer country? And it would be different too if these guys are like, nah, like, I find women in like Norway or like France or Germany. It's not that. It's like I go to like Ukraine or Romania or former Yugoslavia, like any country down there, or I go to like like parts of Brazil, or like it's always these countries are like poor women. If it was at least like other countries that were like OECD equivalents, I would be a little bit less like kind of sideways glancing it. But no, of course I'm looking differently at guys that are telling you they've got to go to countries where the fucking median wages are like 1/10 of that in the United States to find a woman to marry. Of course.
Okay, let me do a follow-up. Let me do a follow-up real quick. Okay, what if instead of a guy who's saying, oh, I can't hack it in America, it's a guy who's like me, who's like, hey, listen, I can do pretty well in America. I've done really well, but I want to get married, and I think I'm going to have a higher likelihood of finding a girl that meets my criteria and is what I'm looking for and getting into a happy relationship in this country. But this guy can absolutely crush it in the U.S., but he thinks he's going to do even better in this place, and those girls are more what he's looking for. Would you shame those guys then?
I would, yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of sad, but I mean, like, if that's what they want to do, you can go for it. Like, knock yourself out. But it tells me a lot about a kind of person if that's what they're after. They're looking for younger, dumber, less educated, more submissive, easier to control women that are in vulnerable situations where they're more likely to be exploited because they're looking for visas and green cards.
You're making a straw man right now. No one's saying
I'm not making. That's just in general what the reality is.
Alex, I'd like to present something. Because I do agree with what Destiny is saying that exists, and I do agree that it's not.
Yeah, it exists. It's not
no, hold on. It's not just that. It's that it's unnecessary to broadcast that and make that announcement. And on that note, I'd also like to kind of point out that the guys that are going for genuine reasons that aren't weak, those are the guys with no microphone. Those are the guys that aren't telling you that they're going to these other countries. These guys that are going there and like getting married to a woman that's also a professional, also very educated and so on, and just shares the same values. Those guys don't mention it on social media. They just go and start a fucking family and live their wonderful life. So I think that audience, or sorry, that demographic is underrepresented in the conversation because they have no interest or incentive in sharing their experience with everyone else. Whereas the people who are constantly talking about it are the people that are complaining about the women here. So
Bro,
I just
what you're talking about are the minority of women.
no, hold on. I just want to point that out because I think that's what's missing in the conversation that's causing the confusion is that everybody that's talking about leaving the country for women are the guys that are complaining about the women here. Whereas the guys that aren't complaining about the women here, they're just quietly going to these other countries.
I agree with that generally, but let's let Destiny respond.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just like the weird like fantasy of like it's the guys that are going over and looking for other doctors. Like, that's the minority of it. Like when we talk about in these red. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Did I talk for more than 5 seconds to trigger you? Jesus Christ. Well, what I'm saying is that the majority of people, there's a reason why. Like, go look up the term passport bros. Like, you guys are presenting this weird fantasy of like, oh, it's guys that are looking for other educated women. That's not true. On most of these red pill spaces, you guys say that educated women are masculine and less favorable. You want women that are less educated. I don't say that. So, like, I mean, yeah, you might not say that. That's great. This ain't about you. It's about the space in general.
To be fair, you did mention that you went overseas to like date professionals and doctors. I do recall you saying.
No, I did not. I said when I'm doing some of the women I date are professional.
Oh my
God. No, that's two different
Why
things.
are you yelling?
Hold on.
Relax, bro. Relax. You're too loud.
Don't change the subject.
No, I didn't.
I can yell on my mic. That's
okay. I can yell too.
That's two different things.
I can yell too.
That's two different things. Going to a country for a specific profession or one of the women that you date had that profession. That's two different things. What I'm saying is, when I'm dating women in foreign countries, I'm not caring how much they make. So
all right, Alex, I love you. We can do this again later if you want. Okay, it's fun to chat with you guys, so I'll shout at you guys as much as you want. So I'll come back later. Let's take it later. Peace out.
I appreciate it. Have a good night. All right. Good discussion.
I just want to pass out that you can't say, bro, have you ever heard of passport bros? You're proving my point is that the people that are leaving whilst complaining about Western women are a group that actually have a fucking name. The guys that are leaving and just having good experience with women that aren't losers at all and attract women here, they don't have a movement. They don't have a banner. They don't have a label. There's no passport dads. There's no passport husbands. There's no group of guys, dude, that are strong men that are broadcasting that they're leaving to date women in other cultures. So the demographic exists. It could very well be much bigger than Passport Bros, which I believe it is, because Passport Bros is just some new label and concept, whereas men have been going to other countries in the military, going to other countries for work for decades. For 50, 60 years, Americans have been relocating in other countries for work and just ending up staying there because they had a better experience with a woman. They're willing to give up their culture, be in a country that might not even like them for just one woman that treats them however it is that they personally prefer to be treated. That's a fucking fact. But those guys didn't broadcast it.
Yeah. Let me make my closing statement. So, okay, so this was interesting because on some things I agreed with you and some things I agreed with Destiny. When it came to like the Andrew Tate stuff, I generally agreed more with Destiny. But when it came to this last topic, I definitely agreed a lot more with you. I think Destiny was strawmanning a little bit about why guys travel. Like, and I think also it's disgenuine to not acknowledge. Maybe he just doesn't have experience. I'm not gonna use the word disgenuine. Maybe he just doesn't have experience with traveling Latin America. Well, on average, women in Latin America or Eastern Europe are superior for relationships than women in the U.S. I've traveled all across the U.S. I've traveled Eastern Europe. I've traveled to Colombia, right? It's just like they're more feminine. They take better care of their appearance, from what I've noticed. They have bigger booties. That's a little plump for they are, I think, more supportive, and they have better relationship with their families, and they're more traditional in terms of family values. And someone who's really like, I'm really close with my family, so it's really important for the girlfriend that I have or potential wife to be really close with her family, which is why Natty, for example, goes above and beyond to make sure that, my mom feels good. She takes her around, stuff like that. I mean, sure, there's some white girls who would do that, but it's more common in Latin culture. So I think there's practical, like tangible benefits to those girls. It doesn't mean there's no good girls in the U.S. There's plenty of great girls in the U.S., but if we're just talking averages, I mean, yeah.
Destiny knows that, bro. I'm not buying it. I think that Destiny loves debating. I think he will take the side of a topic that he doesn't agree with just to flex his debating skills. I think he's very intelligent. He understood all of our points. I think he agreed with the points, but he just wanted to be contentious. He knows that there are guys going for whatever multitude of reasons. He knows it's a different experience. And he had a straw man argument for everything, because I actually didn't disagree with him about Andrew Tate. But I get it. That's what it is. It's made for TV. But I didn't disagree with any of you guys on Andrew Tate. All that stuff looks really bad or whatever. But if anything, I guess I disagreed with to what extent his influence is negative or positive. But other than that, I didn't disagree with any of the, so-called pimping or whatever he was doing or hustling guys. Yeah, I get it. I've heard him myself admit to those type of things. But this is just a way to have the argument. I think that everybody's saying very similar things. Anyhow, I just think it's a disingenuous argument, but I guess that's what people want to see. At the end of the day, why are we so concerned with what the fuck other people are doing anyway?
Well, yeah, Ayendei, it was, we weren't disagreeing on much when it came to the Andrew Tate thing, but when it came to the second thing about the travel, there's definitely a fundamental disagreement. 100%.
Right, but I think that he's pretending to disagree. I think he's intelligent. He understands what's being said. It's not like it doesn't make sense to him. So for him to say it doesn't make sense to me, that's disingenuous.
Well,
every guy that travels, or every guy that prefers women in other countries is automatically weak. No, that's not true. And if you like Latin women from any particular country, I'm sorry, dude, but it's a huge difference dating that woman in that country than outside. I'm Jamaican, but I'm very different than my cousins that have never left Jamaica. I'm sorry. So if a girl says I like Jamaican guys, she's gonna get a hell of a lot more Jamaican flavor from my cousins that still live. You see what I'm trying to say? In Kingston and Mandeville and St. Anne's, and she's gonna get from me raised in the fucking Bronx in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I would make the statement that he was doing it on purpose, but hey, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Why don't we let the girls speak? Because they've been, I think, waiting for a while.
Yeah,
I'm sure they have some opinions. So,
All right. Hello. Okay, so I'm gonna have to maybe not all the traveling times that men take are for, whatever, but for that specific subject, that men who have to go to foreign places are weaker. I kind of have to agree. Not kind of, I do, because I'm Dominican and I'm Colombian, and I grew up with that culture, with those traditions, and it's very toxic and it's very abusive. They do force you to have this ideology of you have to have the man has to do everything. You just have to be saved. You're not supposed to do it. In Colombia, after you're 35, you're not allowed to have a fucking job. You're supposed to have short hair and you're considered an old woman. Like, yeah, going to another country if you're specifically looking for a woman it is not the best, because we in tradition are taught to just be submissive and just finesse, just get your money, take care of your kids, and that's it.
You do realize you just proved my point. That's why those women in those countries prefer Western men, because they don't share that ideology. Because they don't mind the woman having a job.
Because our culture has been abusive to us and has forced us to live that way.
I don't think you're understanding what I'm saying, which is what makes a Western man that rescue, that knight in shining armor, because he doesn't come with that same ideology. So now she can marry a man that's not going to force that on her. And the men here, hold on, let me finish. And the men here, they like the femininity. They like the fact that she's willing to cooperate with a man as long as it's a man of her choice. They like the fact that she's willing to be submissive and feminine to a man as long as it's a man of her choice and she's not being forced into anything. So my point earlier is that it's a good chemistry. And I'm not saying that from guessing. I'm saying that because I've witnessed it in person in my travels, that the women appreciate the Western dudes, because we're not like, shut up and do what I tell you. We're not like, no, you can't have a job. We're not like, we have to give you permission for everything. We are considered lax to them. So having the argument that it's somehow abusive to the women, it doesn't compute if they're already living that experience. They're already living that experience minus the Western men visiting. Then the Western men are coming to further abuse them. They're coming to literally liberate them. They're coming to say, hey, listen, just be beautiful, be domestic, be authentic in your culture. And I love that. I'm attracted to that. I love the way you cook. I love the fact that you like to keep the house clean and all of that. I want my children to be bilingual. And the woman is like, so you're not going to beat me? You're not going to keep me in the house and not let me go out? I'm allowed to work. I can spend my money on what I want. Wait a minute. This is awesome. So it's amazing to me that American women are over here speculating what the experience of foreign women is, yet their ass has never been the fuck over there. I find that amazing that they're over here telling me what the experience of women in polygamy is, yet they don't know any women that have sister wives. They don't know women that have sister wives, but they say it's an abusive institution. It's amazing. Why are you speaking for these other people? That's like me speaking for people in Haiti, and I've never been to Haiti. I don't know what the fuck guys in Haiti think or feel, so I'm not going to speak for them. Come on, man. This is a ridiculous fucking argument.
It's not that I'm speaking for other people. It's that is the culture, whether I stay in my house or go back to Colombia. That's the culture. That is tradition. And okay, yeah, you can say that you're the knight in shining armor for bringing them over here, but
nobody said bring them over here. No, these women don't even want to come here. That's another misconception. Women don't realize that these assumptions are insulting to those women. Assuming these women are less educated is insulting, but yet women are talking about what's offensive here.
We would not. If I went over to Colombia and I married a woman, I would never bring her back here.
Exactly, and they don't.
Women
want to
that
come
are here are way too aggressive, and they would completely taint my woman.
Yep.
So I could not agree. I could not agree with that more.
Or I would fly back ever so often if I needed to renew my passport. Whatever I would do, I would leave her there because women here would screw her up.
And they're doing that quietly.
How would they do that?
They just contaminate.
It's just a different culture.
No, come on. If
How?
women,
can you not see it? Can you?
Because I'm Colombian and Dominican. I live the Hispanic culture.
Women contaminate each other right here.
No, we don't.
Yes, they're single. They're single women that are over here telling their woman, "You ain't gotta listen to him. Don't do what he tells you to do. Girl, break up with him.
You can do better." Yeah, if he's an asshole,
you
know.
Wait, sorry. What's your name, girl? I just want to address you by Exit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
exit.
the exit sign.
So here's the thing, right? Like you've heard the saying, you're the average of 5 people you hang out with, right? So you might have really good friends who don't pull you in a negative direction, right? But for a lot of women, they come here, they befriend the wrong kind of girl, and their friends are pulling them in a bad direction. I don't mean bad like robbing banks. I'm just bad like, like not being ethical anymore, not being considerate, not being empathetic, right? I've seen that happen many, many times. Like a girl who's, she lives in Colombia, great girl, comes to America 3 years later. She's on OnlyFans. She's doing God knows what. And she's like a different person. So that does happen, but it doesn't have to happen every time. Like if you have really good friends and good influences, it doesn't need to happen.
That's true. But the thing is that she has her free will. If that is what she wants to do, then that is the universe helping you get rid of the energy that is not needed.
No, that's influence.
It's not influence. She has free will. Because
if you're walking down the street and a car hits you, is that the universe trying to help you?
But the universe getting rid of you want a girlfriend that genuinely loves you, and you bring this Latina or wherever she's from, and she's obviously not having the best intentions for you. She's probably gonna take your money, you're like divorced and all that stuff. Then it's good that she gets influenced by the bad, so you can find that woman that is right for you.
That's not how we look at it. We don't want our woman. Hold on. We don't want the universe to get grasp of our woman. We want to keep her in Colombia so it doesn't even happen. See, what you're describing is that we want her to come here, and if it happens, then that was supposed to happen. What I want to happen is I leave her in Colombia, I go back, and I have my family, and we're about possibility. Like we don't want it to even be a possibility. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You have children with this.
I get what you're saying, but you got to understand, if I just don't bring her here, then it doesn't happen.
No, but what I want to know is, why are you saying that? You don't live in Colombia. You're not.
I have family in Colombia.
No, I understand, but you're not in that conversation. So I'm trying to figure out why.
Conversation.
No, just listen what I'm trying to say. Like, what are you about to get offended? Just let me finish what I'm saying. There's nothing offensive about it. I'm literally curious. Well, I think I kind of have a suspicion as to why American women or English-speaking women have such a fucking issue with guys traveling and engaging in various relationships with women in other countries. Now, of course, they're just magically assuming that all of these relationships are negative and have negative intentions, which blows my mind, because these women are, you're saying that the women here have free will and they make their own choices. So what are you saying? Women in other countries are forced to date American guys. They can literally say swipe left on Tinder. They don't have to match with that American guy. They don't have to accept his invite to dinner and go out with him. They don't have to go out with him a second time. They don't have to become his girlfriend. They don't have to tell him that they miss him so much and can't wait for him to come back to their country. So why are you guys talking as if all of these foreign women's experiences with Western men are negative, number one? And number two, why are you so interested in this conversation if you're neither a Western man or a foreign woman? You're neither component in the conversation. If you're having a concern, it can only be because you're concerned about being left out of the equation, because you're not in the equation. So why would you care unless being in the equation?
Let me really quickly build on this. I'll be quick. So the only thing I will agree with Exit on in this is that I mean, we're having a podcast, we're having a discussion. I think it's perfectly natural for her to form her own opinions about the topic at hand. However, here's where we're talking past each other. You're talking about like, yeah, but if she's like, a bad apple and, she's just going to act like that. We're not talking about girls who are bad apple. There's a concept called neuroplasticity. It means that our brains can be altered by our environment, right? So we're talking about women who has good intentions, good values, who comes to America, who starts hanging out with the wrong type of girls, and 3-4 years later, she's no longer a good person. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about a chick that was always a bad apple.
Well, okay. The thing is that I've dated a lot of people. You guys have dated a lot of people. Sometimes the people you meet who you think is going to be forever, it's not forever. They're not the people that they say they are. It happens. It's not going to change if you go to a foreign country. Like in 90 Day Fiance, Rose and the guy with no fucking neck, they got together. And Rose did not give a fuck. She went back to her country. She went back to her country. She was not going to be. This is a real relationship. She was not going to be submissive. She was not going to give him everything he wanted because he was still like an ass.
I'm so confused. So what are you trying to say? That these relationships don't work out?
I'm saying that just because you go to a foreign country and she acts a certain way doesn't mean she's gonna stay that person. That might not actually be her.
What are you talking about? There are men.
Exit. We're talking a little bit past each other right now. So would you agree that there are some differences in terms of values between a woman who lives in Eastern Europe and a woman who lives in America in terms of their dating behavior? Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
No, I don't. If you were to talk about like Hispanic cultures, I would give you a solid answer, but I have no idea what the values are for like European women and stuff.
Okay, I can tell you this, that flaking does not exist in Eastern Europe. You go out in Eastern Europe, you have a date set up, the girl's going to show up and she's going to show up on time. In Colombia, there's flaking, but it's a lot less than there is in America. So if you want to talk about what, Colombian women, fine. I'll say this. On average, I find that Colombian women or South American women in general are just way more feminine than American women. And that's something that's very attractive to a lot of men.
I can agree. But it's because in our culture, like growing up, if as a woman, growing up, if you were kind of gay, you were banned. You were going to hell. If you wore when I cut my hair, I was called a fucking dyke. We are forced to be like feminine.
That's a different conversation, though.
It's not a different conversation. It's the Colombian culture. It's the Hispanic culture.
It's a different conversation, though. That's not the conversation we're having right now. The conversation we're having is Western men traveling to other countries and dating their women. We're not having the conversation of whether or not their culture.
I think you're looking at it from like, you might have valid points. I don't really know much about that, but you might be right. There's like toxic elements of Colombian culture that interfere with young women, right? I don't know enough about that to deny or agree with that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about as a man, from a man's perspective, right? And I want to get into a really good relationship. And here are the qualities that I value: femininity, reliability, having a good sense of humor and all that stuff. You're going to be way more likely to hit all those criteria in Colombia than you are in America.
Can I just go around the room with a quick analogy?
Yeah,
and everybody can say it's stupid. I'm going to go around and ask everybody a question. Just answer seriously. Answer honestly and seriously. Alex, do you think the produce is better in America or in Latin American countries? Just yes or no.
Latin America.
So you would say, in your opinion, that in Latin America there's better produce, fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, SB, do you think in Colombia, because you were recently in Colombia, I'm sure you ate food or something.
Oh yeah.
Would you say the food is better or worse than it is in America?
Way better.
Have you had Colombian food in America?
Yes.
Have you had Colombian food in Colombia?
Yep.
Which was better?
Food in Colombia was way better.
Okay, thank you. Have you ever been out of the country? What country?
To Europe.
What country in Europe?
Germany. I went to it was like a tour, so it was like.
You were a tour?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you think that the German automobiles, like the Mercedes-Benz and the BMWs and the Volkswagens, do you think they're better there or they're better here?
Probably because they're from there.
Just guessing. All right, and you're from Colombia, right?
I'm Colombian Dominican, domesticated though.
Okay, so if someone was attracted to Colombian women, do you think that the women in Colombia are more authentically Colombian, or the Colombian descent in America is more Colombian authentic?
I mean, my mom's Colombian, my dad's Dominican. Yeah, I'm half and half. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, yeah, okay, they are more authentic, but
Okay, just checking. So if somebody liked something from another place, would it be safe to say that they would have better variety, better selection, and better quality going to the origin of that thing, person, place, service, product?
no. Why?
So,
Because
so
because our culture is not progressive.
you don't think reggae parties are more authentic in Jamaica than
But
here?
that's not what I'm talking about.
But what I'm saying is I'm putting it into perspective. If we're saying that men like a particular thing and that thing seems to be in more of an abundance and a higher quality in another place, why would we be shaming people for going to that location?
I just can't wait for the men of these countries to like catch wind of this, and when they start to see like American men
Oh, they
on
already
dates,
are.
they're gonna like do something.
No,
I
they
think
already
that's
are,
gonna be
but
so funny.
no, do something like what though? I don't know why women are acting like this is a new thing. It's
Because
weird.
when men see other men, especially
Uh-huh.
foreign men, getting their women,
Okay.
if they're macho, they're gonna get angry about it.
Well, hold on.
So
hold on.
yeah,
So,
I can't
hold,
wait
hold
to
on,
see that
hold on,
happen,
hold
and I
on,
love
hold
the
on,
drama
hold
of it
on.
all.
Let's just talk in mathematics here. Let's talk in terms of mathematics. So right now we're in Miami. It's extremely mixed. It's a melting pot. And there's a lot of Cubans. In fact, Miami has the highest concentration of Cubans anywhere in the world other than Cuba. But is it really changing the dynamic of South Florida? Like, are we getting upset about it? So what I'm saying is foreign men going to other countries is not new. Like, I don't know why this conversation.
It's not new.
Just hold on. This is what I'm trying to say. We're having this conversation as if we don't know how it pans out. Like, we don't know how it plays out. Like it's still up in the air whether or not these relationships work out. Like, there are people with grandchildren already who have done this. So what I'm trying to say is if the locals would have a problem with it, that problem would have been expressed a long time ago. It's not that big of an issue.
People are talking about it.
Just hold on. When I go to Mexico, on the internet, when I go to Mexico,
So?
right, I'm the only El Negro that I see the entire time I'm there. And I stay for weeks, if not months. So what I'm trying to say is me dating Mexican women, I'm sure the average Mexican guy doesn't really appreciate it, but it's not a problem because I'm not dating all of their women. I'm dating like one or two, like I'm dating a handful of them. They still got plenty of Mexican women out there. They're not worried about it. So what I'm trying to say, these are just silly arguments, and I don't understand why is it even a contentious issue.
I don't think it's a silly argument. I think it's a thing. People do care because it's just a thing.
Like, for example, you earlier said, oh, we should start importing masculinity from other countries. Hello, America has been the place that people come from other countries. We don't need to start like inviting masculine men from other countries. They've already been coming here for work.
Well, I was just kind of saying that to saying that.
Okay, and guess what? Can I tell you a secret too?
No,
those men
I don't want to hear it.
Those men also prefer the same more feminine women. So that's the funny thing.
I'm pretty sure that most American men, you're kind of saying, or it seems like it's being insinuated that the majority of American Western women are masculine. So I'm gonna counter argue that the majority, or at least half of Western American men are feminine.
Exactly.
I want that to be discussed more. I kind of want those points to be brought up more.
Okay.
And I kind of want to because it's just always like women masculine, women masculine, women masculine. So
I got that point from you earlier, and that's what I'm addressing. Because the thing about that is we can have that conversation all day. It's not going to change the fact that men in general, whether they be feminine men, like you say, whether they be weak men, like Destiny was saying, or whether they be guys that actually do well with women, like me and Alex are saying, unanimously across the board, all those men prefer feminine women. So the point is that even if we have that conversation, it doesn't balance anything. What happens is it becomes even more imbalanced. Because what happens is those men you consider strong and masculine, they want the same feminine women that the guys you consider weak want. So at the end of the day, the problem is actually more the women being masculine because they're going to lose that argument every time. Because what's going to happen is the women that are feminine, they're going to have their pick from all the men in general because that's what the majority, if not all men, actually want. There are some men that are weak enough to lie, though. There's men that are weak enough to say, I hate Trump too, because they think that's going to get them laid. But deep down inside, they actually want a woman that's going to be feminine and soft and nice and cooperative and submissive too. They just know that they probably can't get it.
Can I ask the girls a really quick question? Here's the question. Do you think it's cool for girls to have standards?
120,000,000% it's necessary.
And not men, though.
Do you think it's necessary for men to have standards?
Of course, because you don't want to get played too, you know?
That's why the argument's
stupid. That's what we're talking about right now.
And guys are acting on those standards. And it's funny how they say that the guys acting on those standards are weak when it's an oxymoron. Mm-hmm. Because if you're able to afford to go to another country, stay there for any length of time, relocate, and provide for women there, that's actually a valuable capability to have here. So the fact that that guy can do that, how can he be that and weak at the same time?
But
It's unbelievable.
what I've
So
realized
stepping
is
out
women.
from your comfort zone is really important. I mean, there are many guys who just prefer to stay in their own country, to just not go outside, to not have new experiences because they are afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree.
people who don't travel, they are mostly afraid, be it of going to the plane, flying, taking the boat, taking the bus, or whatever. Or people may think, oh, Colombia, it's a really criminal country. I will be
Exactly.
robbed. People will
Exactly.
kill me, or whatever. And it's not the case. Yes, sometimes bad things can happen.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you actually also have to go to these places without being a dick. I
Yeah.
mean, if people start having a problem in Mexico when you date their women, it's not because you are black, you are white, or whatever. It's because you're just a dick.
Well, yeah,
It's
just-
because you
yeah, I
cannot
was gonna say
socialize.
that.
Let me really quickly do some housekeeping real quick. And then, so first of all, we got Malik joining us. Welcome, Malik.
Yeah,
Duke
what's
is
good?
backstage. Ayendei, are you okay with me bringing on Duke?
No problem. I mean, a heads up would have been nice. And I mean, I personally got to go pretty quick, but I mean,
Okay.
everyone can continue. I do
I mean,
want to say
it was spontaneous. That's why I didn't tell you.
I do
But
want to say that
I don't have to.
I do want to say that I agree 100% with him. I deal with multiple guys daily on consults, and whenever they describe their issue and what they're experiencing, a lot of guys, I diagnose them with a situation that is remedied by simply traveling to other places and seeing their other options and realizing their actual value, just based on where they come from, how much they earn, and how they see the world. And there is a large amount of them that are terrified to go to other places. And when they explain why, I'm like, dude, what boogeyman are you believing in? Every guy that I've gotten to go to Mexico, it was an uphill battle to convince him that it's not dangerous. And it's like, bro, we're having these arguments. When I have these arguments with women, I expect it because women just believe what the media tells them. When I'm having these arguments with men, I really think to myself, you were really raised with a feminine mindset, a terrified mindset, because you're basing this on something someone told you. And I'm telling you, I've lived in the country. You're telling me it's so dangerous. I live in the country. It's safer than here in most aspects. When you go to the mall, they have security with AKs and Uzis. Like, security is everywhere. Mexico has like retina eye scanners to get into everywhere. They are super strict with everything. And then when you do look at the amount of crime that happens, it's not necessarily disproportional to Western countries. So why do people believe this? Why do people believe any of the bullshit they believe without any personal experience? Simply because they were told that. I've been to Mexico dozens and dozens of times. Someone only attempted to rob me once. I've been robbed far more times in America in my own damn name.
Can I quickly also mention another
Let me
point?
just do some more house cleaning stuff. Okay, so Ayendei, so you said you have to go.
Yeah, I got to go here in a little bit. I'm actually supposed to be at work already, but I told you I was going to kick it with you.
Okay, so I'll just wait until you leave before I get Duke on.
Oh, Duke is here? No, don't do that. I want to say what I have to do.
Oh, you will?
Of course, man.
Oh, okay. That's why I was asking you. Yeah.
My Nigerian brother, what is going on with you, man?
What's good, my Jamaican brother,
Yeah,
from
you're
another
looking very
mother
vibrant,
mine.
brother.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
you.
All right, so what's up, man? Chop it up, man. Chop it up,
Hey, first of all, man, it's good to be back. I was listening to the conversation, and especially about the passport bros, and we got to have a little. I had a question because first of all, I think we were conflating two types of groups, right? Because on one hand, I think you're right. There has been passport bros has always been a thing, right? I think realistically, it started. Maybe it didn't start with the military guys, but I know the original passport bros were guys who were in the military and were trying out there and do that. So when you're making an argument to Destiny that some majority of these guys who are traveling out there are going out there to find good women from good villages, I see that on that aspect, right? Because some of these guys do end up in Japan, they find wives and things like that. So we're not saying that doesn't happen. However, if we're bringing it to within context of the manosphere, the new age passport bros that we have right now, when you got passport bro leaders like Austin Hallman who are going to Brazil, that they're trying to mask what the intention really is all about, right? Because you really think about it, a guy like Austin Hallman, right? One of his breakout stories for him leaving the women in the West was because a woman approached him while he was with his friend at a coffee shop, and he fucked up on his text game, and she flaked on him. And that's why he wanted to go ahead and get his passport to travel to a different country. And it's like, wait a minute. First of all, you already being in this country, getting approached by a woman, that puts you in a different percentage than most men in this country to begin with. So instead of, I just find it fascinating that guys like Austin Holman and guys who are part of that passport bro community that we're seeing here in this manosphere that are going with that crowd. We have to admit it's not to find wives. It's a lot of times it's due to the lack of success a lot of these guys have here in the States, whether it's due to social problems, not being able to speak properly to a woman, whether it's not being able to even have the right tools, like how to talk to a girl, how to fucking text her, how to even set up a date properly, right? So there are these different barriers a lot of these guys have to go through. And Western women here, they're already used to a lot of freedoms, used to dating a lot of guys. They're used to a lot of the games that guys are used to playing. So these dudes who we're seeing in the manosphere who cannot compete, again, they cannot compete here in the States. They travel to these other countries and instantly they become the new high value guy, right? They become the new high value guy and they get the options that they wouldn't otherwise have if they were here in the West.
Well, you acknowledge that there's both. There's that, and then there's the dudes.
I do acknowledge that there's both, but I was saying within the context of this debate that you guys were having, you guys were talking more along the lines of the guys who are in this, guys who are following Andrew Tate and they're listening to this guy, right? And that's another disagreement I have with you, because those guys, they're wrong. A lot of these guys who are following that crowd, I mean, for Pete's sakes, these guys want to join Islam just because of the haram and having multiple wives. These guys don't even know the basic tenets of living like a true Muslim. You even think guys like Myron prays 5 times a day, or Sneeko, for instance. So you think Sneeko all of a sudden is going to repent his ways and start praying 5 times a day to Allah? I mean, what are we talking about here? A lot of these guys in the mentality
I
in this
agree
space,
with that stuff is kind of cringe.
It's pussy motivated, and we have, listen, for us to be honest in this space and to really get some message across to a lot of these young men, we have to be honest with ourselves. A lot of these guys are sexually frustrated, and as soon as we can get to that truth, then we can move on to other things, because right now we're hiding all of this truth under this weird ass movement, and it's confusing a lot of guys to believe nonsense.
Hold on.
I think you're making good points.
Yeah, you are making good points, and I think Destiny was making good points. The thing is that there's still other points to be made. I think all of these things are happening simultaneously. I think there's guys that are lame as shit. My ex-wife, her father left her mother to marry a younger woman that was 18, but he knew prior to her turning 18. What does that indicate? That he wanted her before, but he had to wait till she turned 18. He also converted to Islam to be with her. So I've never respected my birth father-in-law, because she had a stepfather. So I respected the stepfather. He was a G, but her biological father, I never respected him, because not only was he on some weird shit, like, why are you trying to date some little kid? She was 16 when he married an 18-year-old. That's super inappropriate. And then he was so weak that he changed his religion for the woman. So yes, that happens. I agree. But I still think that there are many, many other scenarios that are taking place also. They're just undercovered because nobody's talking about it. I would also like to say that I judge Alex based on interacting with Alex. So I can't see him or critique him in any other way. And the same way with you, Duke. So what I'll say is I've spoken to Austin Holloman too. And when I spoke to him, I see what people see when they look at him. I see how they judge or rate him and what's going on with that. But I judge him based on my interactions with him and what he's told me in his explanation. And his explanation is not so much that he didn't have success with women in America. It's that he didn't have enough experiences with women in America. So it's counterbalanced, because Duke, you just yourself admitted that women here have plenty of experience. That's the problem. The women here have more experience with the guys dating than the guys have dating women, and that doesn't work well.
But
in
the women overseas, the women overseas. Can I just do two things? First of all, on the Austin Holloman situation, it's different. There's a difference between explaining something to somebody when meeting them than watching somebody's actions. So someone like Austin Holloman, like realistically, I haven't met the guy. I don't need to talk to the guy. I just need to observe. Hold on. I just need to observe this brother's actions, and his actions tells me that he's a guy that's acting out of desperation and lack of abundance here that he feels like he has here in the States. Because a guy like Austin Holman, if he really applied himself, he'd be really good. If he had some kind of, if he actually applied himself, he'd do fine here in the States. But hang on, let me, because I got my second point. But just to finish off on that first point, anybody can meet anybody, right? I can sit down with somebody like Myron Gaines, for example, and I can sit across from him, and I can get to know him on a personal level, and he can explain to me all he wants about what his intentions are. But at the end of the day, all I have to go off is your actions, and just like we tell the women, your past actions is an indicator of future behaviors. So you can explain to me till the cows come home, but I'm gonna look back at what you do, and I'm gonna formulate my opinion on that. So based off what I've seen Austin Holman do, first of all, you get kicked out of Brazil. Come on, bro. Listen, time out. Out of all the time, for hundreds of years, passport bros have been traveling to these other countries, right? If we wouldn't even go back that far, all of a sudden it took one 23-year-old who clearly didn't have the experience or wherewithal to know to do what he was doing, to go to a country and pretty much put the whole movement on blast. That's what it took. One inexperienced brother. So what I'm telling you is, if it's gonna get that bad, that grown men are gonna follow inexperienced children, because that's what he is, to go ahead and start spewing messages. And it's not the way it's not the messages he was spewing, because I don't see his messages as different than any of these other passport bros, but it's the way and the manner he did it. He was so aggressive with it, and it just made everything. It literally exposed what you were telling me that Austin Holman is not about.
After Ayendei response, let's let Malik also speak.
I'm gonna just cut it. But I just had to harp on that point, because I get tired of, because Rollo Tomasi and I see all these other guys in the manosphere, they do this all the time. Well, I know him on a personal level, and he can.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm just saying I'm speaking in general, because I've called out other content creators in the manosphere for this similar things, right? And their explanation, instead of calling out their buddies, right? Let's say a relationship between Rollo Tomasi and Donnie Boy, right? Rollo Tomasi's never gonna call out Donnie Boy on his bullshit. Why? I get you if you actually call him out on it. Well, I know Donovan Sharp. I know exactly what he meant by that, and he can give you all these different excuses. Meanwhile, you and I on the outside are looking at this dude's actions and behaviors and saying, "Nah, that guy's a fraud." I mean, come on, he's a three-time convicted felon.
That's why I tell everybody, for me, it's always hard, because I just don't consume a lot of people's content. So I've spoken to Austin Holman more frequently than I've watched this content. So it's the same exact issue with Andrew Tate.
But then you can't have an opinion.
No, just listen to what I say. So that's why I say I don't want people to take it out of context. I'm not defending these people. I'm just telling you my understanding of them is based on that interaction, not his content. Now, when Austin Holman first came out, I was very supportive of him. Because I understood where he was coming from. I agreed with his message to people of his same age demographic that could relate to that. And his argument is that he didn't want to play the games that American women were playing. And I agreed with him. Yes, absolutely. These women in these other countries actually don't play those games either. But I also saw that he was inexperienced from the very jump. Like, that's the very first thought I had of him, was like, this kid doesn't know any of this stuff yet because he hasn't experienced it. So every time I would stream with him, I would bring on different generations of guys that have traveled and dated women. I would bring Grover on in his 50s. I would talk from the perspective of a guy in his 40s. I would bring Delane to speak from the perspective of a guy in the 30s. And then I would let Austin Holman speak from the perspective of a guy from the 20s. What I'm saying is, we cannot let guys in their 20s that are inexperienced represent us all.
Well, here's the thing, but you're kind of doing that though by letting him sit there and speak. Because think about it, he's been on larger platforms with Melanie King, some of these other guys that are hang on. But some of these other guys that have promoted him. So all these guys that are in this manosphere that have promoted him, who have been shouting him out, who would have tried to impart wisdom on him, and he still ends up fucking up on such a massive scale. I mean, come on. That's his choice, but we have a responsibility to talk about that, because at the end of the day, that is. But that's the movement that makes it look. It makes us look bad. It doesn't work. So if we see a guy like that who's acting up, right? It don't matter how many old heads we put in front of him to try to talk sense of him into him. If he's still repeating the same behavior, there is something wrong. That means this is something inherent with his character. That's why I'm sitting here like listening to you, and you're saying you don't watch any of his content. Okay, I can understand that, but don't you understand that based off what you read off of him the first impression you got, basically saying he's inexperienced. Don't you realize that translates to his content as well?
No,
Matter of fact,
absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
because of this said inexperience that got him exposed on a massive scale on Twitter. So why are we or people in this manosphere stepping up to call this kind of nonsense out? This is the bullshit that makes everyone looks bad. And here's the next thing I see with this whole Andrew Tate thing, because this is another disagreement I had with you on that stream, right? Everyone is saying that he's such a good influence on these young men, or a net positive at the end of the day. I disagree with that. At the end of the day, this man was a net negative. He started his career doing the e-thought business, basically duping young men to pay for women that weren't even real online, turning men into simps and making their behaviors worse. It got so bad that one kid actually sold his grandmama's inheritance to deal with a girl that wasn't real. And Tristan Tate came up here and bragged about it and laughed about it. And then years later, when we all forget, he comes around and then starts preaching the exact same red pill shit everyone else says. Because his message and self-help shit, which I think is bullshit, by the way, it's no different from what any one of these red pill guys say. It's no different from Myra. It's no different from any of these guys. So when he comes in here and does that stuff, acting like he has the fucking cure, it's ridiculous that all these men are coming in here surrounding him and saying you're a hero. But before that, he was selling you poison. So you're going to tell me he's going to sell you poison and turn around and say, here's the antidote, and then shame the very same men he made weak. And what I don't like about this is y'all are saying that my bad. I'm sorry. Let me.
Let's. You're making a lot of points. A lot of them are good, but let's keep it fair.
My bad.
Let's let Malik speak. She's been waiting. She hasn't said a word so far.
Yeah. Hello, I'm Malik for those who don't know me. I 100% agree as far as men going to other countries to find traditional women. And the main reason for that is women in the U.S., as we clearly see in day-to-day, are becoming less and less traditional and still wanting traditional men, which is just an unrealistic expectation. So men today are resorting to going to other countries to find women where they still appreciate values and know their role in a relationship. 100%.
Malik, can you and I go to Armenia and you can kind of walk me through what I should do?
No, Alex, you're on your own.
Wait, where is she from?
Oh,
so a little bit about me. I live in the U.S., but my background is Middle Eastern and Armenian mainly.
What age did you come to this country?
I was born here.
All right, so you're just dealing with logic then.
Yes, I'm third generation.
I appreciate that.
All right. Uncomfortable truth, Nomad Tate lifestyle. Do you guys have any points you want to make?
Yeah. So
okay, uncomfortable truth. You can start.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, this situation is actually hits pretty close to home because I do have a long-term girlfriend who lives abroad, and like I'd first like to say that I agree that there are two camps of people, right? There's like the sex pads, the people who kind of go abroad just to fuck people, and then there are those that actually are looking for something a little bit more meaningful. The other thing is a lot of people right on this chat and on this video right now are from the US. The US is very it's not homogeneous, right? And so there are people from a lot of different cultures and backgrounds. And ethnically, right, you might have ties to another country. You know, I speak 4 different languages, 2 fluently. And not everyone is just looking to get laid and, you know, get a quick hookup or take advantage of, you know, underprivileged people, right? Some people have cultural ties. So I just think that, you know, he was making a bit of a straw man there and you know, painting broad strokes.
I love taking advantage of underprivileged people. Who do you feel like was making a straw man? Was it Duke or Ayendei?
No, the Destiny, right? I mean, I think like everyone goes abroad is weak and loser and, you know, can't deal with women at home. Well, I'm 6 feet. I've made 6 figures since I was in my early 20s, right? I'm like pretty jacked. I've never had trouble with women. And I prefer women from other countries. One of the things, like, and this is going to be very contentious, the average BMI for women in the US is 29.7, right? So 25 is an overweight BMI. 30 BMI would be obese. So basically the average US woman is obese. To me, that's unacceptable. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, that is unacceptable to me. And you can say, oh, you can't deal with US women or this or that. No, I don't want to deal with them. Like,
Yeah.
like
yeah.
you have
No, you're right. You're right. It's like when a really fat girl says, you can't handle all these curls. It's like, I don't want to handle all these curves. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Well, Alex, can I just point something out? I want to see if you agree with this. Because it's really just weird to me when guys are joining this conversation and they never dated in other countries. I'm like, why the fuck are you talking? And then there's women talking on this, and they're neither the foreign chick nor the guy dating a foreign chick. And it's like, when you have gone to these countries and dated these women, whether or not that was the reason you went to those countries, you could have went for any number of reasons. You could have actually like legit wanted to see the country, practice the language like my boy said, right? I personally started going to Mexico because I'm a professional bodybuilder. I went for the diet, the improving diet. The food was far cheaper, way more accessible, and extreme, like the highest quality at the lowest price. You can't beat it, right? So that's why I went. Bodybuilding and fitness. My nutrition is why I went to Mexico. And I fell in love with the culture and the people, male and female. Pause, no homo unnecessary. The guys have a different type of camaraderie and brotherhood, right? Well, I was dating a single mother in Mexico at one point. The grandmother, the girl I was dating, and her daughter all submitted to me instantly. It was like they volunteered it. Like all of a sudden I started making rules. The daughter couldn't wear makeup anymore. She couldn't be alone with a boy. If he wanted to take her on a date, we had to go on a double date and chaperone it. As long as I was paying the bills and being respectful, they just handed it to me. And it's like, now I have to take on this responsibility whether I ask for it or not. There's men here that desperately crave that and they can't get it. But yet the women are shoving single motherhood down our throats and saying we're supposed to accept single mothers, but yet we can't get the authority that comes along with the responsibility they're suggesting and recommending. And if we turn that down, we get shamed. And the last thing I want to say is the guys who have gone to these other countries and dated, even if they didn't leave because they had a problem with the women here, they find it difficult to date the women when they come back. Not just the women, they find it difficult to pay $20 per IMAX ticket. They feel it difficult to pay $50, $60 for a steak, $39 for a lobster tail. So they're like, well, shit, I'd rather date in these other countries for the experience, the cost, as well as the quality of the women. It makes it extremely hard to date Western women once you come back.
And the problem.
Look, let me just.
Also, one.
Hang on 1 second.
Let's let Duke. But Duke, we can barely hear you. Your audio is really, really quiet.
My bad. My bad. Can you hear me now?
It's a little better, but still.
How about now?
Quiet.
How about now?
Yeah, you're
all right.
good.
So the problem is not men going out there and like, you know, finding their options and things like that. The problem is it almost seems like when the guys go out there and they come back, they're almost making it seem like, oh, that is the only option, right? And here's the thing, for at least for the men out there. And my question is, the way you're preaching it, where you're saying, oh, the women are coming down on the men's throats because the men are doing it for options. You would then say the same thing for guys in the manosphere and like a lot of the red pill thing, right? We're shoving a bunch of messaging down, especially conservative like messaging down the throats of women who don't even want to be conservative in the first place. And that's the issue I have with the manosphere. Like, it's a big waste of time. And that's what I see this whole manosphere about. We're sitting here with girls who are obviously left-wing and liberal, right? They live a liberal lifestyle, yet we're trying to preach a conservative, traditional worldview to women. They're not going to listen to it. So, yeah, that's fine.
That makes more sense.
And you're right. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just see, like, the whole point of talking at these women, right, this is general, and then comparing what they are not to these South American girls, it's pointless. It's like, why are we talking to it? It don't matter. But like, I digress. I just found that part interesting.
But the point isn't to change your mind. The point is content, right? I'm not delusional enough to think that I'm going to take a modern whatever woman and turn her into a traditional woman, right? That's not going to happen. Right, it's purely content. It's purely entertainment.
I mean, that's what I like about you, bro. And Authentic Alphas, you guys, because you're honest. You're honest about saying it's content. But you know what guys like Rollo Tomasi would say? Guys like Rollo Tomasi and Myron would say, we're actually saving lives with this shit. Right? No, we're not doing it for content. We're saving lives, bro. And then they dupe a lot of young men with it. So my problem isn't the fact that you guys are honest. It's about content. So why can't the rest of the manosphere be honest about that? We're not here to help men. We're here to make content. And if we don't have that,
Dude, can I say something?
Hold on. I have saved lives. Hold on. I have saved lives by suggesting to guys that they leave the country. Right? So there are multiple guys that have taken my advice and they're literally living happily the fuck ever after. So the content is helpful. The content is helping guys because there are so many guys that before recently they didn't even know this was an option. And when you explain to them how easy it actually is based on what they're already doing, it's like, dude, the type of work you're already working from home. So you could be working remotely from another country where your cost of living is way less. It's like, never thought about it that way. Yeah, you could have a fucking 2-bedroom in Polanco, Mexico City for $1,200 or $1,000 a month. Whereas here in Miami, I'm paying damn near $3,000 for a 2-bedroom. And it's a different quality of life. And the women, which is the main drive, are more satisfying. So it is.
Wait. Let me make a point. I haven't talked much at all. I think it's a relevant point. And it's my show, so who gives a shit? All right. So here's my perspective on this. I think you do know me well enough to know I have no problem getting laid. I can fuck a bunch of chicks in the U.S. I have. Most of the girlfriends I've had, most of the ladies I've had came from the U.S., right? But I will say this. I've traveled a good amount, and I just noticed that time and time again that dating is better in Latin America or Eastern Europe. When it comes to Eastern Europe, there's no flaking. There's no showing up late. The girls are on time. They don't play weird games. They're more honest about what they about what they want. They take more pride in their appearance. They're more feminine, stuff like that. In Colombia, all of that, minus the reliability. They're a little bit more flaky there, but they're still way less flaky than the U.S. Like in Colombia, the flake rate is maybe 50%. In Miami, the flake rate is like 90%, right?
But so they flake on the locals though, Alex. So I do kind of want to,
because that's what I'm saying. Because like
it would be on the foreign guys.
Because Alex, you would be the equivalent of a high value man there. So your value here would be the equivalent of like an NBA baller in Miami over there.
And
they not gonna flake on you, bro. But the what do you call it? Rico from the village? Yeah, she gonna flake on Rico to come see you all day long, Alex. That's just
I can't speak on that because I've never been a local Colombian guy.
Oh no, guys!
I think
really
it more
good video.
has to do. I think it more has to do with the sexual marketplace and what's it called, culture. So culture plays a big role, right? In Eastern Europe, when a girl flakes on the guy, right, she doesn't get like validation from her friends. They're like, oh, that was not cool. Like he relied on you. Versus Miami, a girl flakes on the guy, her girlfriend's gonna be like, yeah, fuck him. He has a small dick anyway. That type of thing. And the sexual marketplace is also really important because in Miami, the girls just getting bombarded.
Well, that's not how the conversation goes.
Versus
that's not how the conversation goes. Hey, girl, I thought you were done.
Let me finish. I'm almost done. In Colombia, she's getting a good amount of matches, but it's not as many as she's in Miami. So yeah, so I think like those are the two reasons why it's just better to date there. But again, is it possible that all the locals get flaked on like crazy? Sure. I don't know. I've never been a local. I don't really care either. I'm dating as me, not dating as someone else.
Right. But we're talking about these guys here. So like, in the point of dating, right? Because we have to understand the whole reason why a lot of these guys are finding this newfound success going overseas, right?
Yeah,
because the message. Hang on. I feel as though I just feel as though the message is being misconstrued here because I feel as though the real truth, which we all just came to an understanding on, it comes down to sexual marketplace value. Because if we had Rico, who's a local, versus Alex, who's from the States, she's gonna flake on Rico to be with Alex from the States because Alex from the States, we don't. Hang on, because Alex from the State probably has more money and provide a fun time versus Rico from the block. Okay, so I'm just saying it comes down to sexual marketplace value at the end of the day. But the problem with the passport, bro, is they dress it up as they're trying to find wives in these countries. They're trying to find good, strong relationships, and
that's how they find them.
Right. But
they find them through experience. Dude, you were young, you were in your 20s.
Yeah. But here's the thing:
and you were married before too.
Yeah,
but dude, you forget that Alex is a cheap motherfucker. Keep going.
Well, Alex, your dollar goes long.
I'm just saying.
But here's no.
You can't be too hard on them.
Ayendei. No. That's not what I'm saying, bro. Like, listen. It doesn't. So if we're separating the state, these guys are coming to these countries because, and by the way, I'm not saying this is a wrong thing to do, but like you're hiding it underneath that we're trying to find wives. But time after time in the manosphere, and I'm talking specifically about the manosphere, the people Andrew Tate and them talk to, right? If we're talking about in this manosphere, a lot of these guys, okay, they're masquerading like they're looking for girlfriend or wives, but realistically, every time we see them talk about traveling there and meeting all these great girls and all these nonsense, yet they still don't end up dating or marrying these different women. I was watching a video on MLD, and this guy was talking about Japan. He's all of a sudden this Japanese grift, right? And he was saying that women, he talking about how great women in Japan are, and he was talking about the story about this Japanese girl that he dated, and she was down for him, did whatever for him, and everything, right? And then come to find out, bro, where is she? Where's the ring? Where's all that, right? So you telling all this story, encouraging men to go overseas and date to find wives, yet you yourself aren't that person. You yourself aren't going there to live that lifestyle. So I'm just saying.
But what if they'll eventually find a wife?
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That
but
doesn't
these
make
guys,
what's your time limit?
So that okay, I'm glad you asked that, which comes down to my main point of us being able to separate the two types of passport bros that we're talking about here. Because the manosphere passport bros, they're buying cheap. They're buying cheap passport, and they're not even staying long enough to even get infused with the culture. These guys travel for like what, a month or two at a time, then come back, and all of a sudden they're an expert in Brazil. They're an expert in Thailand. No, some of these other guys who are let's say military, for example, and they actually have to live on base and build a life there and actually be with these people every single day. That's a totally different lifestyle than someone who just takes a vacation check for 2 weeks, goes down, lives the life, parties it up, right? And then comes back and says, yo, I had the time of my life, bro.
Yeah,
that's different.
Wait, just a quick clarification. When you say you guys, who are you referring to?
I'm not saying you guys. I'm not talking about anybody in this panel. I'm specifically talking about the Andrew Tate version of the red pill.
Right, but what I'm saying is that does not make the information untrue. Whether or left, I
didn't deny it, by the way.
Wait, who did you mention? Modern Life Dating or whatever like that?
Yeah, ML. Yeah, ML.
Okay, well, listen. I don't even like that dude. So let's start with that. I personally don't even like him, but that
I don't think anyone likes him.
Right now, he's been to plenty of Asian countries. I think he's weak as shit because the reason that he goes is definitely because he's not doing well with the women here. And I've personally witnessed that. He does not do well with the women here. He's short. He's weird looking. His eyes is bulging out of his fucking head. He doesn't do well with the women here. That's just the fact. That's the truth. I synced it. Right now, that does not change his information being accurate when he says you will find better wives in Japan. You will find better wives in Korea. You will find better wives in China. That's still true, though. So someone listening to that content does not have to model him to the T. They don't have to go and do what he's doing there. They can take that information and do what they will with it. I give information in general. I'm not saying for guys to do what I do in Mexico. You see what I mean? When I send guys to Mexico, I'm telling them how Mexico is. You capitalize on that however you see fit. Also, I agree with Alex in the sense that the friends here, the female friends here, are just toxic. The main issue that these guys are having better experiences with these other women is the lack of respect that women have for dating, relationships, commitment, and men in general. You're over here saying that these guys are supposed to only be going for marriage. That's the only acceptable reason. That's bullshit because the women here in America don't value marriage. The women here want to have a good, hold on. The women here want to date a bunch of guys in their youth, enjoy themselves and party and sleep around, and then maybe consider marriage later. So how are you going to demonize and shame men for going where they have the options to date casually until they're ready to settle down later? It's bullshit. The difference is the women here don't have to leave to get that advantage.
The demonization goes on both sides, bro.
Hold on, dude. Just let me finish my point. The women here don't have to leave the country for dating to be affordable for them because the men here are paying for the dates. The women here don't have to leave for the options. They dominate the option market here. So in order for guys to get those type of odds, we got to leave the fucking country with an American passport. Then we have the amount of options the average American woman has, and now dating is affordable for us. Now we can go to the hottest club in the city. we can buy a bottle in the VIP now.
But do you
Because
understand what you're saying? So you're arguing to be the
Evening
opposite
the
of what
odds.
these. What you're arguing is to live the opposite lifestyle like American feminists. So it just goes to about what I've been saying. Like we're the other side of the coin. We shouldn't even be making these types of argument like that to be trying to go there and have to go
Everyone
to the
should
club
just
and
be a
do like
slut.
you see what I'm saying? Like everybody be a. That's what I'm saying. The
Everyone
red
should be a
pill is
slut.
basically the equivalent to what OnlyFans is for liberal women, right? It's basically what it is, right? Hey, go ahead and make your money, buy into my course, and you can live this high value lifestyle. I don't see any different like what these guys tell these young what these women tell these young what these old women tell these young women on OnlyFans and stuff like that. So,
it's something to manipulate views right here in the
but
States.
is that the lifestyle we want young men to be achieving for? Or
But
striving
dude,
for?
you
Or
realize
are
that's
we-
why the women
but-
are mad. You know that's
but-
why the Western women are mad because the same dudes that will be a victim.
It seems
to
like
them
we're
here-
the ones that are
Hold
mad
on,
that
hold on.
they have that freedom. You see
No,
what
no,
I'm
no,
saying?
It's
No,
both.
it's not.
No, I know it's both. I know it's both. I'm just
they're not mad. Hold on, whether they're mad or not is irrelevant. If there's a place where they can get those odds, if there's a place that they can improve their shot at the game, why would they not go there?
I'm
If
not
you
disagreeing
can't,
with that.
Hold on, Duke. If you can't play ball in the NBA anymore, you're not good enough to play in the NBA. You can go play for a foreign league at the snap of a fingers. So
I'm not
what
disagreeing with that,
yes,
but
well,
is
yeah,
it
so
is it
people are gonna
right?
go where they
Is
get
he
the
healthy?
Hold on. So people are gonna go where they get the results. So the thing is
Okay,
that
but what results are
Hold
we
on,
looking
hold
for?
on.
Are we
But,
trying to
hold
have?
on,
But
hold on.
time out. Is
Let me
the
give you some
results to
examples.
live like OnlyFans women, or is this the results to find a wife? What
Hold on.
results? At the end of the day, we have to
Bro,
quantify because
Re-
the
result-
message.
hold on,
Like, you do both.
Dude. What I'm trying to tell you is that's the fucking point. Is that when you go to these other places, you can choose what you want to do. Either way, you have a better shot. Just like the women here, they can get married if they want to, or they could be single and sleep around and live a casual life. They could go work and earn their money and be fully independent, or they can rely on a man. The point is, women have all the damn options in the West. Men don't. Now, if they go to another country, now they can say, do I want to smut the women out here, or do I want to wife them up and have kids in a family? The point
You
is,
didn't realize these same
Duke,
passport.
Duke, either way, they have a better shot, is my point. If you just want to sleep around, you'll do better overseas as an
The
American.
leader
or
of the
Canadian, or
passport, bro, literally got kicked out because he was making the
who's
women
leader
look
though?
like hoes.
You can't hold on. You can't say
Austin Holman, dude.
hold on. You
Are
cannot hold on.
kidding me?
Hold on. You cannot say he's the leader of something that
Started
predated
before
him.
him.
Exactly. It predated him.
No.
But
He's
the
the
term
lead.
passport, bro, is
Listen.
recent.
It's the real. That's what I'm
Not
saying. Like
recent.
all
It's
these
the
guys
passport
want to
was
act
recent.
brand new.
What's
When
the
it comes
difference?
down to actually
The
pinning
future.
these guys down, they want to act brand new, bro. Like listen, it's the same thing. At the end of the day, you want to act. The problem, y'all not getting the point. Y'all not getting the point. The message is preached to these young men that you want to find wholesome relationship. You guys are coming here and saying you want both. I don't disagree with that.
Doesn't
Okay,
exist in the States though. Okay, let me no. I want to go back to what Alex was saying about flaking on a date. Let me tell you how the conversation goes here with women when there's no guys around. Right? The women are together, and it's like, oh, girl, I just got a message from so and so. Let's go here. The party's here. Oh, but I already have plans with this guy. Oh, just tell him something else. What should I tell him? Just don't answer the phone. Just don't respond to the text. Yeah, but I kind of made plans with him. I already confirmed. Just tell me you lost your phone. Tell me your phone died. So that's the advice here. That's the influence. We're in another country. The culture doesn't support that. I agree with Alex on that. So what that shows you is a lack of respect. She didn't respect that she made arrangements with
So
this dude.
you don't think that these American guys are going to do the same thing in these countries?
Hang on,
Duke,
guys.
hold on, Duke. Just let me finish. And I want uncomfortable. Hold on. I want
No,
uncomfortable.
I didn't even get to finish my original point.
No,
by
hold
the
on,
way.
hold on. Hold on.
I did.
Ayendei, Duke, and then Brad.
I just so you know, like you're going off of a half-finished point. I didn't even get to finish my point,
I want
bro. So
uncomfortable to give me his feedback on this, and I want Nomad to give me his feedback on this. When she behaves that way, she's showing you she has no respect for dating in general, no respect for the guy or his time. But in these other countries, the number one thing that these guys agree that they get over there from the women is respect. I just wanted to say that. So I want you two guys to tell me,
So
do you
the
experience
point-
that from foreign women? Do you think they respect?
Can I get to the point I was getting with Hustle?
Yeah, dude, I will let you make your point, and then I want to go to Brad, and then
Okay, so the original point I was making with is at the end of the day with this whole blame women wave, men at the end of the day are gonna be responsible because we're still running shit. And the same
Thank
guys
you.
who are leading this stuff
And they
who are
leave
gonna
it.
go, are the same guys who are gonna go over to
Nice.
Brazil and screw it up over there too as well, like the Austin Holloman situation. And this is a new age thing, okay?
He
So I don't
screwed
care
up.
how far back it is, but he put it on the
He did not
map.
screw it up,
He
dude.
put these women on the
He didn't
map,
screw
bro.
it up. He
Bro,
just screwed up.
look, can I just finish? All I'm saying is, at the end of the day, what I see this movement going is the same way all these movements go when it gets filled in with ignorance, right? It just becomes bastardized and then just sent down the river, and that's what I see this all happening. Men are gonna ruin these other countries like
No, they're
we've
not.
ruined that one. I'm not saying men in general. I'm talking about these type of passport bros who are saying, okay, fuck it, I'm not even gonna, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you going to all these countries with the same behaviors. We're not getting at the root cause of why men aren't getting the respect of the women today. We're not getting to that root cause. We're just going in and saying, yep, it's because of feminism. We're not even talking about why feminism became a
You're
thing,
clapping
and
for
then we're gonna
bullshit.
jump.
They are getting the respect. She's
Okay,
clapping for
guys,
bullshit.
wait. Stop. There's a lot of people on the panel who haven't literally said a word. So I will let you respond to that, Ayendei, but let's first go to Brad. Uncomfortable truth, Nomad Tate lifestyle, Malik, and then we can go back to you guys. So let's go with you, Brad. You said you want to say something?
Okay, cool. Yeah, thanks, Alex. So Ayendei and Duke, it's like watching a verbal boxing match. This is nice. But yeah, I mean, yeah, everybody, so it's good for everybody to get a chance to speak. There's a lot of interrupting and over talking and everything. But I just want to say, like, Duke, it sounds like you're pointing out a double standard. I personally think the double standard is fine. So I guess that's where we would differ. But I mean, I don't see any problem.
I don't
like
think
a lot
double
of
standards are okay either way.
well, we can have a respectful debate about that. But a lot of Western women don't like men going to foreign countries, getting with foreign women. I don't understand why. I mean, if a man wants to go to a foreign country, have casual sex, or get married, or have a lot of casual sex, and then eventually get married, I mean, as long as it's two consenting adults, he can do whatever he wants. And I heard the two women on the panel really don't like this idea. I heard one woman say, when the local men find out about this, she can't wait for them to do something about it. I don't know if you were
Yeah,
wishing for
because it's true.
men to
Like,
get violently attacked for going overseas.
But let me make something clear. We Western women do not care about you guys going to foreign countries and
Yeah, they
finding
do.
women. We do not care at all. This whole thing started because we just wanted
Well, you
to.
said you want him to get attacked, so
yeah.
No, she didn't say that.
I think that
would
was
say that.
misinterpreted,
But
Brad.
it's just more like, because the passport bros thing seems to benefit more Western men, but it puts the third world and second world men at a disadvantage because now they're competing for the same women with first world men. So I'm actually thinking about my brothers in the second and third world. Like, what would they think about it? And
That's
also,
not true.
when Ayendei was talking about like coming to Mexico, like they're talking about gentrification of Americans going into Mexico, buying the property with American dollars. The prices are going up. People are getting pissed because the locals can't afford to live there. Yes, it's happening. Go YouTube it. So there's more
It's only
to it
happening
than
in
just
Tulum.
there's more to it than just like sex, even relationships. Like, it's just kind of like when you have mass migration, or not even mass migration at this
Exactly,
point,
it's
but
not.
but still, like, I know a lot of Hispanic men, since I'm Venezuelan, we're talking a lot about Hispanic culture earlier. There's a lot of Hispanic men who are more on the right who do have a problem with Hispanic women dating outside of their culture. And that hasn't been brought up. So yeah, there is a lot of men who, they might not speak it out loud, but yeah, for some people it is a problem. And I just think it's kind of funny.
Why do you?
Whoa. I just want to quickly respond to that, because I see where you're coming from, but I think your logic is incredibly flawed. Okay, according to this logic, you would say that a guy who's going to the gym and getting in better shape is like, whoa, you're making it more competitive for the guys who want to sit around and do nothing. For the guy who's trying to learn better game, better social skills, like whoa, you're making it harder for the guys who don't want to do that. So any kind of self-improvement or leveling up in the dating marketplace is going to be seen as, yes, it's going to be hard for the guys who aren't doing that. And your job as a man isn't to, on a macro level, control a dating marketplace, which first of all would be impossible. It's to do the absolute best, as long as you stay honest and you're not lying, and you're not doing all the baddie, shitty behavior like gaslighting, as long as you're not doing that, is to give yourself every edge up. It's the same thing in business, right? You and another store owner both open a business, right? Let's just say that if you succeed, then he gets less customers. It is your job to still succeed. You're going to try your hardest. So, yeah, I just fundamentally disagree with the logic of that. But
Go ahead, Alex.
Can I say something in response real quick?
Yeah, sure.
So with what you said, I actually do agree with you to a certain extent. I've had a lot of conversations about this. Obviously the Western man in the first world country, he will go to a second or third world country to give himself an advantage. And I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that. But at the same time, I do have empathy for these local men who are born in the second and third world countries, because they don't have a fourth or fifth world country to run to give themselves an advantage. And it is sort of tough for them to compete with the man from the first world country. But at the same time, I'm not going to demonize the man from the first world country for going there to give himself an advantage. It's not his fault. So the world's just in bad shape. But with that being said, I mean, if anybody were to wish that a Western man would get like violently attacked just for going to a foreign country to hook up with foreign women, I definitely would have to disagree with that.
Right.
Okay.
You can't take it seriously though, because that's just an emotional comment that she made. So she doesn't really want anybody to get hurt, but that's the point. The entire argument is emotional. It's not resting on any logic, and it's hypocritical in so many ways. So there's plenty of Mexican people here. In fact, there's more Mexicans that relocate to America than there are Americans relocating to Mexico. And the guys that are traveling to other countries aren't even putting a noticeable dent in the dating market. So that's nonsense. They're not throwing the balance off of anything. The guys there are still getting married. They're still dating. And another thing I want to point out is that stop acting like these Western dudes are the only dudes with resources and means and money. Every poor country I've been to, first of all, isn't even poor. It's just that their own government keeps the people poor. It keeps the people getting paid minimal, right? But those countries have rich guys too. Okay, so the women have access to guys that have money in any country you've just named, Venezuela, Mexico, whatever. So stop it, knock it off. The next thing is, you can't say what you're saying because these women have their own voice. So that's the next thing that we're not talking about in this passport conversation. There are YouTubers from these countries that are speaking themselves, and they are not saying any of the things that Western women are saying for them. They do not feel oppressed. They do not feel taken advantage of. Okay? They are happy that these men are coming in here and giving them more options. So you're just being hypocritical, because if you're talking about Western women, you want them to have all the options. You want to have them to have all the advantages. But how come these foreign women aren't allowed to have options and advantages too? The reason why we're a blessing to them is because their government doesn't allow them to access a visa or a passport as easily as ours do. That's why we have the advantage. That's the honest reason why we have the advantage. Because if they could come here, they'll just get the American man here. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those women love their culture, they love their country, and they want to stay there. But they still might desire foreign men.
If you're a Colombian woman,
guys, I haven't heard from Uncomfortable Truth and Nomad Tate Lifestyle in like an hour. Let's just let them speak. I want it to be fair. So let's go to you, Uncomfortable Truth, then Nomad Tate Lifestyle, and then Malik.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just let Nomad and Malik speak because they haven't really had a chance. I mean, I said one thing earlier, so I just want to give them an opportunity.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to make a more personal point of view. So there was the talk about respect before, right? Like women respecting men. I would like to add that there is also another component which is very important to me. So I noticed that very often I had like an emotional disconnect with certain women more in Western country. It was very difficult to connect with them on an emotional level. Whereas Latinos, for instance, it seemed to be a little bit easier because of the mentality that exists in the Latin culture. And I found that mentality plays a really big role in all of this about the passport bros or people who like to go to foreign countries or want to have foreign wives or girlfriends or whatever you want to call it, right? And the mentality, I prefer the mentality actually of Latin countries. So I had been to Peru. I'm right now in Paraguay. And it just resonates more with me, the Latin culture. it's easier. Like when you need to do some papers, if you need to buy something, it's easier to find someone who can do it for you. People are more flexible in some ways. Like, it's not like this that you have to follow all the times the rules and everything like very correctly. But sometimes you can just be a little bit more flexible and do stuff in an easier way. And I pretty much like that about the Latin culture, for instance. And there are many other things that I like as well. And another thing I would like to add is also personal interest. So, what is the hobby of a guy? So, there was the mention about bodybuilding, sports. Me, for instance, I studied history, so that's why I chose also to go to Peru way before. So, Peru is a very historical country, really nice. I suggest everyone should visit it, and not just Machu Picchu, but also other places. And because of my interest, I actually found someone who used to be an archaeologist. And yeah, then I had a relation with her, and it was actually a really nice experience. And another point of that I would like to add is languages. So someone mentioned he speaks like 4 languages or something like that. Well, me, I speak like I would say like most likely like 7, perhaps even 8. If
Damn.
Yeah. So I know, of course, the languages that were taught in my country, in Luxembourg, because we are officially a trilingual country, but then also we have English. I have Polish roots, so I know some Polish. Due to my ex-girlfriends, I also know pretty well Spanish, some Italian as well, and yeah, I guess also some words in Russian I can use more or less. And there is also this other point that I would like to add, where someone was mentioning that men get more defensive about their women. Well, it's true. Actually, in Central Asia, men are really defensive about their women. Trust me. So when you go out to the nightclubs, they will cock block you immediately. If you're talking to some women and trying to day game or approach them, yeah, men will usually stare or just come over and ask you, yo, what's going on? But the thing is, you actually have to be sociable. You have to actually understand how the culture is, how the mentality works. Like some dudes, they will then get like really aggressive and defensive. Hey, I'm just talking to her, blah, blah, blah. And you just have like to use a different type of strategy if you and when you understand their mentality. You just say, oh, nothing, I'm just actually having a question and there is no problem anymore. Thank you for your concern. And they will usually move on and there will be no issue whatsoever. But if dudes are actually like trying to go into that confrontation, yeah, it's because they just lack of experience. They don't understand the mentality. And mentality overall is something that is really, really lacking in this discussion. Like many people, they prefer the mentality of other countries or other cultures. For me, for instance, I don't like the mentality in my own country. I feel like a total stranger in my own country. But once I came over to Latin America, I felt so much better for myself. And it was not just the women, it was just everything resonated really, really well with me. And no, I'm not talking like someone who is just here for a week or a month. It's actually experience that has accumulated for many, many years. And it's still like a place, a continent, a region of the world, a culture that I really like. So we should not forget about the mentality.
Yeah, so what you just said is very accurate. Like, I highly encourage people who only know English to learn other languages because language is culture. And what you were saying about mentalities, that has everything to do with how dating and relationships work in other countries. So, for example, I think a lot of people in the US make the mistake of thinking every other country operates with the same kind of dating tactics and strategies that the people in the US use, right? I mean, this is the world that you live in, so this is your view. In reality, right, there are some countries where most of the relationships happen because of arranged marriages. There are some countries where being more straightforward is looked more favorably upon. There's other countries where they prefer more of a passive approach. So I just feel like a lot of U.S. people need to go to other countries and learn languages, right? And a lot of people who go to other countries to find women don't necessarily want to prey on women. They just resonate better with a different culture. And like I said, right, America is not homogeneous. There's people from many different cultures. And so you have to understand that some people just don't like the mentality of American women. Simple as that.
Okay, let's let Malik speak, and then I want to start wrapping up.
Yeah, so I think one point no one's really touched on is the fact that a lot of people in general, not just women from other countries, are very appreciative. They really take gratitude into consideration with things. And like mentioned before, they do have a lot of respect. In America, unfortunately, there is a lack of respect just from human to human. So when you do have these men going to foreign countries and taking interest in the local woman, they have a lot of gratitude for that and of respect. So they often look up to them and see them as more high value and appreciate what they have to offer, other than maybe the locals who don't have as much success or wealth that foreign men do bring to the country. And they are looking for a lot of traditional values. A lot of foreign women just want to be a stay-at-home mom. A lot of American men looking for that can't find that in America. So as a last resort, they do often go to other countries. I will say for most men, just in my experience that I've encountered, who do go to foreign countries looking for a woman, it's because they haven't had luck in the US, whether it's because they're unattractive or just the people they are around aren't what they're looking for. So they do go to another country as another resort where they can find more compatible women.
What's up, Caduceus? Yeah, you came as we're like wrapping things up, but if you have like a hot take on this.
Super quick point on this. About this passport, bro, what they're traveling for, what they're getting, right reasons, wrong reasons. I frankly do not care. My general policy on this thing is if I'm criticizing someone traveling for women that they get there, that they're getting foreign women that they maybe can't get other women, I'm not going to criticize someone unless I'm throwing them something better. So like unless I'm throwing someone a better woman, like I'm not going to shame someone for buying a product without offering something better to them. So it's similar with like what they do with their life. I'm not going to de-police them, and I'm not going to pocket watch them.
Okay, I think that's fair. I do want to start wrapping things up. We're going on like 3 hours. And start off as a Destiny debate. Now Destiny's not even here, but I'll let everyone get some closing thoughts. First of all, thank you, Ayendei, for joining. I think it was a good discussion. But yeah, what are your closing thoughts, Ayendei? And we'll go in clockwise order.
Man, I could not come up with anything better than my boy just said. I think that's golden right there, and I'm confessing that I'm going to take that in the future. Why criticize somebody if you don't have a better suggestion? So I'm gonna close on that one.
Yeah,
I think that sums it up. Like we're criticizing these guys, we're not criticizing these guys or whatever. But at the end of the day, whoever has a problem with what these guys are doing, tell me where are these women that fit the description of what they want that are in the West.
Yeah, the number one thing men want is respect. We're not getting it here. Women are super inconsiderate here. You will tell a woman something, she'll literally go, I don't give a shit what you just said. In other countries, it doesn't happen. Men go to where the path of least resistance is. We've always done that, and we will always.
I agree with that.
To do that, so you can get mad, you can say whatever you want, you can be like that Duke dude and say, Austin Hulleman's the leader and he's a terrible person. These discussions and these things are happening because men aren't being respected here, and that's basically the number one thing we really want from women, which we don't get here.
What we want from people in general.
I don't think it's just respect. I think that's probably a component of it, but I think
there's a lot more.
Men are not able to achieve their sexual goals, whether that's getting laid, getting a girlfriend, getting married, and that's what's causing them to travel.
But respect is required for all those things. Women, that's one thing that Andrew Tate, whether you love him or hate him, that's another thing Andrew Tate said. That's true. Mm-hmm. Women sleep with men they respect.
Sure.
Right. And they also marry a man they respect.
Yeah. And just real quick, last.
Wait, let me just make the. I agree with you, Ayendei, but you can have respect without having the girl fuck you, right? You are right that you can't fuck the girl without her respecting you, but you can totally have a girl who respects you and you don't fuck her.
Yeah, but the end result is you still want to get laid. I want to say this though. The last thing I'll say is what I said yesterday on our podcast. Guys, we always have to sit back and watch men of greater value get all the girls. So you're in high school, 12th graders get all the 9th graders. So that when you're in college, the frat boys get all the girls. We sit back and we watch guys rail through girls. And you might not be the guy that's getting the girls. You quickly find out that the guys at the top are banging all the girls. If you go to another country, you immediately become the top. And as Ayendei said earlier, you have the option to get married if you want. All we want to do is increase our options, guys. If I want to be a slut and I want to smash a bunch of pros in Cartagena, I can. And guess what? If I want to find a real hot chick that works at the bodega down the street, I can. We want to increase our options. That's it. A guy here in Miami, where this podcast is, if he's lit at Live every single night, right now it's spring break. If he goes in a spring break all this month for March Madness, if he goes to the VIP, all them 21-year-old girls, even though there's some 22-year-old guys that are in there being goofy in the crowd dancing and doing the whatever stupid TikTok dance, those guys are going to rail all the girls. Those guys are going to get out. And if they want one girl for the whole week, or they just want to, you know what, I got a girl. I'm not even worried about these girls. He gets the choice and the option to. That's what men want. You don't have to be on all the pros or all the working women of the night.
And the women here already have the options. That's the point. The women here already have the options. The women here 4 and up have the options. They might be turning them down.
Actually, it's not even 4 and up. It's like if you're alive, you have the options.
Right. And a guy will wife them up. They'll get. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not even talking about sexual options. I'm talking about women get what they pursue in the dating market, which is either resources, experiences, and dates, or actual commitment. Either way, they have more access to that than men have.
The friend
access
zone
to
dude.
sex.
She's waiting for it.
Exactly.
A fat girl has a better odds than a good-looking guy. All right, let's go in order. Let's go vital message, and then we'll wrap up.
Yeah, general idea. Do what's gonna best serve you, like because everyone else is looking out for themselves too. And there's nothing wrong with that because we all have a lot of stuff on our plate. And the sentiment about potentially ruining it for other guys. Who are you gonna ruin traveling for? The guy that's going to call you out on the couch in America, you're not ruining it for him because he's not traveling. And if he traveled, he'd be ruining it for other people. And like, you're going to look after yourself? Like potentially you ruin it for the locals, but that's tough luck, buddy. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with everything you said. Let's go to uncomfortable truth.
Yeah, my final thoughts are just that, I want to say that, Western women are not inferior, and that's not what I'm saying. Every woman from every country has their strengths and weaknesses. Western women have decided to become, for one reason or another, more masculine, right? And so they're taking on more masculine traits. And when you do that, you're going to attract men that are more feminine, right? And most of the men that I know are pretty normal. They're masculine, and so naturally they gravitate towards women who are feminine. And if there aren't feminine women here, and obviously we can define that in many different ways. Physically, I think Western women aren't very feminine. Like I said before, their average BMI is just shy of 30, so clinically obese. And then, we can go through any number of different factors as well. But, if you are not being feminine, you cannot expect men to be masculine men to be attracted to you. They're going to go elsewhere where there are feminine women, and I don't think you can blame them for that.
And vice versa. All right, let's go to Nomad Tate lifestyle.
Yeah, I have one phrase to say, and it's actually a popular phrase from another YouTuber I sometimes do parodies about. It's the phrase called "Go where you are treated best." It's a very simple phrase, actually, right? And I'm not just talking about women. I'm talking about everything. Everything in there is included. So if people are much nicer to you, if people just treat you better, or if you can fulfill your professional desires or your hobbies or whatever you want, just go to these countries, go where you're treated best, try different places, regions, or whatever, but do something new, go out of your comfort zone. Because if you're staying in the same room where you are every day, you will not improve, you will not gain anything, you will have no experiences. So just go where you're treated best. That's my final phrase.
All right, let's go to Malik and then Brad.
Yeah, sorry, my mic was muted. So I think a lot of people care way too much about what other people are doing with their lives. I think everyone should just do what makes them happy. If you're unhappy in your current situation, it's logical to try something different, whether it's looking for a different audience in a different country or whatever it is. It is proven that some things work and some things don't. I don't really understand again why so many people care so much about what other people do with their lives. If it makes you happy to go to another country and find a woman, do that. If you want to stay in your own country and date locally, I think you can do either. I don't really think it matters.
Okay, Brad.
Yeah, I just want to say I heard a little bit of what Destiny was saying earlier. Destiny is dead wrong on this topic. I am a fan of his content, but sometimes he's just so far off, it's ridiculous. And he was saying he would have more respect for these men if instead of traveling to a second or third world country, they would travel to a first world country. That just logically makes zero sense. Why would you leave a expensive first world country dominated by feminism to then go to another expensive first world country dominated by feminism? This doesn't make any sense. And there's a lot of shame and demonization with these men wanting to go to foreign countries. I just want to say, when you take all the emotion out of it and you just look at it logically, if a man had two choices, first choice, live in a super expensive country dominated by feminism, men are treated like shit every day, victimized and demonized every day. Women are just have zero respect for men. Family's dead, patriarchy's dead. Everything, it's just done. Or go to the second or third world country. Your money stretches 10 times further. Weather's better. Food's better. Women respect you. You have a good, family, everything like that. So it just logically makes sense. The best advice I can give these Western women, instead of being mad at men for wanting to go to a foreign country and have a beautiful wife and a beautiful family in a country that respects men, why don't you just, become the feminine women that they want, and you'll have a big advantage in the marketplace instead of going along with Cardi B. Be the woman who said, I'm gonna wrap up soon, but be the woman who says, I will cook for my husband. I do love my husband. I will clean for him. Be that woman. That's my advice.
I know this is closing thoughts, but I would just like to add in, I don't think those type of women who are mad at that are looking for those type of men in the first place. Like the type of women who want to be independent, who want to be a boss bitch, have their own business, work hard, be masculine, all this. They don't want men who are looking for a traditional woman.
Okay. Anyway, let me do my closing thoughts and then we'll wrap up. First of all, just quickly preface what Brad is saying. There are, on average, he's correct, but there's definitely plenty of women in the U.S. who respect men, who value men. So, yeah, we're just talking averages. Just want to preface that for the chat. Closing thoughts. I thought this was a really, really good debate. I thought it was fun. There was definitely a lot of highs and lows, a lot of twists, turns. Somehow Caduceus is here. Malik is here. I don't know how that happened. It was a Destiny versus Ayendei debate, but it's good. I like hearing from different people. So I thought it was a good discussion. I want to thank everyone for coming on. Thank everyone for tuning in. You guys can check out Ayendei's channel, Authentic Alphas. Just YouTube that. Vital Message, his channel is The Vital Message. Uncomfortable Truth, I don't know if you have a channel, but I know that Malik has a channel. So how would we find your channel? Malik04 or something?
Yeah, I am a full-time Twitch streamer. It's just Malik_04.
Cool. And Nomad Tate Lifestyle also has a channel. His channel is hilarious. It's called TSP, right? Correct?
Yes, correct.
TSP, so check it out. He's a really, really good voice actor. Okay, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We're going to be back tomorrow night with a round of speed dating. I know I promised you guys I was going to share that person, the crazy mofo who literally just fucking rage DM me all day and who's fucking just got super butthurt. I don't think we have enough time. It's going to require a 10-15 minute explanation. So I'm going to do that either later tonight on Greg's stream if I go on, or I'll do it on after the speed dating tomorrow. But yeah, tomorrow speed dating at 8 p.m. It's going to be fun. And then the President Sunday debate is on Saturday. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Appreciate y'all. Until next time.
Follow Anna 911.
Thanks, man.